To begin, so all please rise to the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I want to welcome all of you, happy Earth Day. I just want to say something here. We have a couple things going on at the same time. The first thing here, we're going to call to order. I am Mike Bond, supervisor.
Diana Klein.
Joe attender. Okay, well, we have Linda Elliott is over there. John Terry is not here, and neither is Greg Simpson. Public comment right now. I want you guys to I understand that there's issues coming through here, more or less. What I would like to do basically is, instead of having everybody speak and they have to speak here, I prefer that you can come up there and you say, I agree with this person, I agree with that person, instead of coming up and, saying the exact same thing as other people did. I would also like to, and since you have such a large crowd, and I believe there's a long list of names there, 2 minutes. All right, we never do it, but like, you want to go home.
I want to eat dinner.
Should have brought with you, Mike.
They're pointed quick and strong.
All right. Do we have the list of, Mike, can you give us the
Public speaking list.
public speaking list?
I'll give you the first sheet. There's multiple sheets.
First sheet? You keep the second sheet.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep, anything metal, your first one, just cut your way, go through.
Mr. Trower.
Okay, what we need, yeah, before we start, again, we'd like a little quiet, please. Okay, I make a motion to open public comment number 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we have 4. 4 on.
First speaker is Mr. Trower. Do I go then? Sure. Okay. Take care of the wires. Well,
Sorry.
thank you. No, it's good. I appreciate the warning.
Okay, name, address, social
My
security
name
number.
is Kevis Trower. I live at 371 Xena, 12401.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
That's town of Hurley or town of Woodstock?
Town of Woodstock, City of Kingston.
No, town of Woodstock.
Yeah.
No, you were a Hurley resident or you were a Woodstock resident?
What's that?
What's the other thing? Travis?
Trower. TROWER. So I'm here to comment on the railroad. I live about 1.5 miles from the corner, and it's a really congested and a dangerous corner. I served on the committee called Wellness Kingston and got exposed to a lot of information about the need for people to be able to walk and to be in nature. And so I just wanted to comment that I don't think it's a great idea to put a private railroad on that corner and add to the congestion and prevent a trail that would serve people from traffic routing. Thank you.
Okay.
That's a clear. I thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here and considering this issue. I'm here to for 2 reasons. One is to share with you the recommendations of the Ulster County Trails Advisory Committee regarding the undesignated section. And in essence, it is supportive of the quote compromise position.
I'm a little closer, Betsy, to the mic.
Is it on?
Yeah, it is. Just come in close. You're fine.
Okay.
Yep.
You can all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so this is a letter. This is addressed to the members of the Ulster County Legislature's U&D Corridor Advisory Committee and its recommendations of the Ulster County Trails Advisory Committee regarding the undesignated section. This group's been working for about 20 years. And I'm not going to read the letter.
but I will distribute a copy to each of the members.
Thank you.
It just states that it supports the quote unquote compromise of building a rail facility across Route 28A that would extend the current train permit length.
But it doesn't get to the,
I'm not going.
it doesn't get to the undesignated section?
It goes
stops before.
into the undesignated section a small distance, maybe about 500 feet. So it would get them across 28A and it would get them to county land where some kind of visitor amenity, public services could be built.
Thank you.
So I was not part of this, but I think it is relevant to your deliberations. I do want to note that I've heard that there was a discussion that, we had a Hurley passed a resolution 5 years ago in support of this, and that you all didn't all know about it, although I did mention it, I believe, 2 weeks ago. I want to note that the past Hurley resolution was under the McKnight administration. There was no committee review of that recommendation of that resolution in advance of the town board passing it. There was no detailed assessment of anything beyond, we all love railroads. Railroads are a good idea. Let's support railroads. And that was sort of a superficial look at what could occur. I think that, and when a committee did take a look at it, the committee's recommendation subsequently was we should not have taken a position on that was not something they felt comfortable supporting at the time, given the information they had. We now have new information. We've had a much more detailed look at the terrain and the logistics. We know more about the width requirements. We have new, stronger environmental regulations in New York State pertaining to wetlands. So this time we know more, and we also know that there are a number of businesses, there are private homes along that corridor that would be impacted. And I don't know if any of those people are here, but they should have a voice in it as well. So I urge you, I know tonight is probably not the night, but to pass the resolution as modified to this compromise position that would be a marginal gain for the railroad. It would get them some of the things that they've said over the years they need, and it would not sacrifice the corridor and cost an arm and a leg. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joel Bluestein?
Hi, my name's Joel Bluestein. I have property at
Address.
326 Route 28A, which adjoins to the railroad in the back. The old St. John's Church, which I spent quite a bit of money renovating, and it is now the Dreamland Recording Studio, which it has been since 1986. So I've been in business there for 40 years, close to. I will tell you categorically, if the train goes through my backyard, it will put me out of business. You can't have a train in a recording studio backyard. And, I've been there for all these years. We're part of the community. We hire from the community. We get food from the community. I've had many people who've worked for me over the years. I don't understand why one business would have priority over another, especially in this case. I don't see how this really benefits West Hurley at all. It's just it's a train that goes through, and it's noisy. And driving over here, I realize it's going to go right across the Route 209. It's going to be a problem for the state police if there's a train going by. So I guess the idea seems a little crazy to me. It's like somebody's private business that's going to make them some money, and it's going to inconvenience all the people on that corridor. And I'm one of those people. So, and I've been here a long time, and I can tell you for sure, close my business down, there will be lawsuits, and the bad will in the community will be tremendous because we're beloved as part of the community. We've made over 500 records. Almost everybody in this room probably knows we Music Week Brigade. And it's been a safe haven for artists for all this time. We are an artist community. So that's mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Howard Cole.
Hi, Howard Cohen, I'm the co-chair of the
Address.
oh, sorry, 105 of Airman Road, Woodstock. Woodstock. I'm the co-chair of the Woodstock Town Complete Streets Committee. Woodstock adopted a Complete Streets policy and is fully supportive of Hurley in the process of doing the same. With trail connectivity at the top of our agenda as a safe way to create safe passage for pedestrians and cyclists. Last year, we joined together with the town of Hurley to find a way to connect Woodstock, Hurley, and West Hurley, including the Ashoka Rail Trail, for residents to walk or cycle safely back and forth. We feel this will be a win-win for residents and visitors in both towns. A big percentage of Woodstock residents too afraid to walk on local roads, drive to walk and ride their bikes on the Ashoka Rail Trail. We fully support the idea of connecting the Ashoka Rail Trail to Kingston and the Empire Trail along the UND corridor, which is guaranteed to increase trail use and improve the trail experience for all Ulster County residents and visitors alike. There's a resolution passed by Supervisor Bill McKenna and seconded by Council Member Laura Rickey, 962024, that you can look up and read with very specific wording as the best use of the property that exists in the town of Woodstock, which is in discussion as part of this UND corridor.
So Woodstock approved the rail trail,
They would improve trail.
just trail, no rail. Is that what you said?
You would have to read the resolution, Mike. I can't speak to all the details in that resolution. But I think it would behoove you to read it and see. And it's also, things are evolving with the ongoing committee and with the legislature and the advisory committee.
What did you say the date of that resolution was?
I can forward it to you.
Thank you. Clerk at Town of Hurley, Illinois?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Larry Roth.
Good evening. My name is Larry Roth. I'm coming down from Meridian, New York, but I'm co-chair of the Ulster and Delaware Railway Revitalization Committee. We are a 501c3 organization, and our mission is to preserve and promote the rail heritage of the Catskills. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I know a little bit about hiking and trails. I have spent 40 years working for the New York State Department of Health, so I know a little bit about healthy exercise and other health issues. And I also have a BS in biology, so I know a little bit about the nature and other science considerations at stake here. I have come with a scale model of the station over there. I invite everyone to take a look at it. I'm hearing a lot of discussion that how dare a private business utilize a public good to make a profit. I understand that was the way the free enterprise system was supposed to work in this country. And there are many businesses that would go out of business if they were not allowed to use public resources that we all enjoy, like our highways, our power grid, other utilities. So that argument really does not make much of an impact on my views. Let me make a few statements here.
We got 1 minute left.
Oh, good for me. This whole purpose is not just to leave the railroad in a place up in Basin Road. It's to give them a destination so they're no longer a railroad to nowhere. The so-called compromise is no compromise at all. It's a trail-only solution with just a fig leaf of rail as an excuse. It would leave it as a railroad to nowhere. with a station at Basin Road. It would do a number of things besides bringing tourists. It would also be a resource for the public. If you have a connection between Kingston and Basin Road, that gives people a way to get to the trail and cutting traffic because they don't need to drive anymore. They can take a train. Mr. Hunt will be having more to say about all the things that will be coming up. And this won't just be a station, it'll be also for trail users. We're talking about bathrooms, we're talking about drinking water, we're talking about other facilities. It will really be a plus for the trail community. And I really have to ask why these so-called leaders are so adamantly against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty Goodwin.
Hi, I'm Patty Goodwin. I'm a local. I live in Glenford. A 2023 GPI engineering study of the corridor found that rail plus trail in the undesignated section is not feasible for many reasons. It cited the fact that it's a narrow single-track corridor, steep rock cuts, high fill areas next to New York State protected wetlands. Observers with engineering backgrounds have also suggested that should a mechanical failure or derailment happen in these kinds of areas, it would pose the risk of significant injury to passengers or the pedestrians on the adjacent trail, and it would make evacuation of the injured difficult and hazardous. A much better option is the proposed compromise solution. As I understand it, it includes the extension of the Ashokan Rail Trail, and it gives expands the railroad's permit to bring tourist trains across Route 28A to a county-controlled property. And this was a concept that was in CMRR proposals in September of 2021 and August of 2024. So for these reasons, plus the fact that a tourist railroad does not benefit Hurley or Hurley residents, and the CMRR proposed railroad station at Route 28 and Xena Road would make an already dangerous intersection even worse, and that it would violate town of Woodstock zoning. I hope that the Hurley Town Board will support the resolution in favor of the compromise solution. Thank you.
Patty Howells. Howell. Holly.
I'm right here. Holly Howell. I live on Upper Glenview Drive in Glenford, and I'm basically here to support the compromise solution that Patty has so eloquently laid out. So that's all I really need to say. Thank you.
That's quick.
What did you ask?
That's what I asked.
I need to know. Okay, so, Kelly Esposito.
Hi, I'm a member of the Hurley Rail Trail Committee. I've lived in,
Just closer to you.
I've been a resident of Hurley for the last 26 years. And how we first started out with this agenda, the resolution was in 2020. -66 was offered by Councilman McKnight, and there was only 3 members present. There were Mike Bombs was there and 2 other members. So basically, what I feel is I agree that we should continue with the compromise, but also my feeling is the railroad does not really need to extend to provide a quality event for their riders. In fact, my concern about adding more excursions to their already busy schedule, especially during Polar Express,
They have 4 very dangerous intersections, starting with Washington Avenue with 4 lanes of traffic, crossing 209, 8 to 10 times would definitely impact Hurley. And then the scary one is the Hurley Mountain Road area where there's absolutely a blind hill going up and to the woods. So my thoughts are keep the rail at Stony Hollow. And there is absolutely no reason. I'm a runner, trail user for many years. I know a lot of people that utilize the trails, and the thought that people are going to take a train ride from the plaza an hour plus and pay a fee to use a trail, I think is ridiculous. I don't see it happening. I don't see the necessity for it. I think it's creating something that we really don't have a need for. So, it's just my thoughts.
Steve Rice.
Hello, I'm Steve Rice. I'm from the town of Accord, town of Rochester rather. But I was president of the D&H Heritage Corridor Alliance for 20 some odd years. And I've got 30 years of working on your rail trail here on the ONW. And the town of Hurley has been a leader in rail trails. You developed this section. It became a model for the rest of ONW to point to and say, this is how good it can be. And now you see it extends to Kingston. It's almost to the town of Rochester, and the OSI is committed to completing all the way to Pennsylvania. So you've grown something here. Now you're on a similar historic moment. I'm going to take you, I think you're at a historic moment where you can take the right step to improve the whole county-wide rail corridor by encouraging trail use in the UND corridor. It's already set up by law to be rail with trail. It's the undesignated section that has not been. And the only time you hear rail with trail from the railroad side is when they want more rail.
Joy Hall.
My name is Joy Pollard. I live on 26 O'Keefe Lane, West Hurley. And I'm here to support the railroad. I think the railroad is a wonderful community business. I don't understand why private company gets to be this dirty word when I think that this is a strong asset to the community. It's a family-oriented business. They have worked really hard with hundreds of volunteers to make a successful business that brings families from Maryland, New Jersey, Connecticut, all around, because this is a better experience than is available for a lot more money in a lot of other places. And I think railroads belong to railroads, and I think they should use them. And I think the more that they can expand, I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. Rick Harris.
Well, I'm here to oppose the resolution that's on your agenda tonight. And I hope that it will either be withdrawn or voted down. The railroad has been talking about rail with trail and supporting rail with trail since the very beginning of the controversy in 2013. And since that time, it's my opinion that roadblock after roadblock has been set up against the railroad. There's only 1.7 miles left of the railroad, and that is from where the old 28A is to Basin Road, with a beautiful design for a rail station, and it will allow the railroad to grow and develop and have a real destination. And I don't understand why there's so much disharmony and why it can't be rail with trail the whole way. And you will hear tonight reasons why it is very possible to do both safely in that section of the railroad.
Thank you. Thank you. Barb. You to the C. Barb.
Barb.
From Burlington. What's your last name?
Callahan.
Callahan. Thank you. I've been listening. I'm in West Hurley, Holly Hills, West Hurley. Been listening with great interest tonight. I just wanted to say one thing. My husband and I have absolutely loved the opening of the trail as it is. It's been a wonderful gift. People have told me it's like having a second living room. My understanding, and I'm just coming on board here, is that having the rail use the undesignated area is going to cut us off from Empire State. The Empire State, it's a whole system trail from New York City to Buffalo. I'd like us to be a part of that. I really have a lot of confidence in the vision of the people who have worked hard to make the original, our rail trail now as good as it is. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Smith.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Smith. I live in Bearsville. I am currently serving as chair of the Ulster County Trails Advisory Committee. You were provided a letter that our committee approved last night for submission to the Ulster Delaware Corridor Advisory Committee. I won't go into the detail, but I invite you to read it. One quick stitch I'd like to pick up is the town of Woodstock memorializing resolution was passed last year in either March or April. It was unanimously adopted by the town board. And in the resolve clause, it requests the county of Ulster to reevaluate the section of the corridor between milepost 8.33 and Basin Road to determine, based on all available facts, circumstances, and with due consideration of economic, fiscal, health, safety, and environmental costs and benefits to the residents of the county, the best and highest use of this segment. It also asks to update the 2015 policy. That's the policy that left that section undesignated. And finally, it requests that the county fulfill the specific mandates in that policy to preserve and realize trail connectivity between the city of Kingston and the Ashokan Rail Trail. I would like to speak to you for just a few seconds as a user of the public roadways. I am a cyclist. I drive my car along Route 28, and I'm probably one of the very few people in this room. I see a couple of others that have ridden Route 28 on their bicycle, including parallel to the undesignated section. It is a dangerous roadway. I see people walking on it. I see people riding bicycles on it, some of them for recreation, some of them for tourism, a lot of them because that is their only means of transportation. You have an ability to make a difference here by letting the county know the sentiments of your community and make a commitment to traffic safety, and safety especially for vulnerable road users outside of motor vehicles. I read the reports of what happened on Zandhook Road. I know how hard you all have been working to address exactly situations like that. Please take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Stuart Auchincloss.
My name is Stuart Auchincloss, and I live at 2342 Glasgow Turnpike in Woodstock. I'm 86 years old and no longer brave enough to ride my bicycle on the road. I depend on riding a bicycle to get exercise and to remain healthy, and I wanted to come this evening to thank the town of Hurley for the rail trails, the O&W trail and the trail along 209 that my wife and I often ride on, and how important rail trails are off the road for those of us who are more uncomfortable than Kevin is riding on the road. Thank you.
Russ Baum.
Good evening, everybody. I probably don't need this microphone. I thank the board for putting off the meeting a couple weeks ago to tonight to rethink and to come up with some common sense type of an answer. We have a beautiful rail trail right out front here, the O&W, the New York, Ontario and Western Railroad was a class 1. Hadn't seen track since the late 1950s. Okay, that was a perfect pick for a rail trail. I don't think there's a person in here that would disagree with that statement. However, the 1.7 miles of undesignated, and it bothers me to say that name, undesignated, because it is designated. The rails are there. Is not a perfect fit. The rails are there. The rails have been there since the 1880s, long before there was anybody living on them, and those that did live on them signed their deeds over to the railroad. Not in perpetuity. If the rails get ripped up, those deeds and easements revert back to the landowner. So I don't know how many are in there. I'm sure smarter heads know. But I think common sense needs to take place here and keep the rails down. Basin Road will be a great destination for the rails and the trail. So again, thank you. Common sense. Thank you.
Marcia Russo.
I'm not speaking.
David Hilliard.
Hilliard.
I'm Dave Hilliard. I am a longtime Catskill Mountain Railroad engineer. I love the railroad, but I'm going to talk about the compromise. Let's talk about the compromise back in 2015. Do you know what that compromise was? Mike Hine basically held a gun to our head and said, we're going to reclaim your railroad and you're going to get to keep 4.5 miles and we get all the rest. So that's the first compromise we had to deal with. And I think we got the short end of the stick. Now I hear people talking about, let's talk about the other compromise. There's 1.7 miles of railroad left. We're going to give you 500 feet. And the trail people are going to get 1.6 miles. How the hell is that fair? What kind of compromise is that? It just doesn't make sense. We even offered to help build the trail next to the railroad. And guess what? Trail people didn't like that idea. So I think from now on, rail only. So let's, like as Russ Baum said, common sense, keep the railroad there. It's been there since the late 1880s. Railroad from Kingston to Basin Road. And other people are saying, well, why do you need that? Because we need a destination. Right now, our railroad ends at 8.33, but we stop around 8.2 in the middle of the woods. There's no destination there. There's nothing for people to see. We need a destination. We need that beautiful station that's sitting right there. And it's going to have bathrooms, other amenities. And I think this is what the railroad needs. We need that destination to bring people up there. Because a lot of people may not know, if they ride a bike from Kingston to Basin Road, most of that is a 2% grade uphill. How many people are going to ride 6 miles at a 2% grade uphill? I know I'm not going to do it. Well, you guys are fit. You've been doing it your whole life. Let's talk about the handicap. Let's talk about the people in the wheelchair. Let's talk about people that have broken legs. How many of them are going to ride a bike up there? But you know what? Their train can get them up there. But nope, rail people, they don't want that. They want to shut it down, put the railroad out of business. And right now, I'm just getting sick and tired of this. So common sense, railroad to Basin Road. Thank you. Have a great day.
Cheryl Haggard.
Hang on a second, hold on. Hey, I just, yeah. Hey, listen, changing protocol right here. We have a presentation besides this, and the applicants we're doing the presentation, have to be by 7:00. This is a very important, presentation. So I'd like to stop this, right at this point there, continue it afterwards. Let these people, the people from Streamgo do their presentation, because I think it's a really valuable lesson that we are going to learn from our lead check coming through there. And then we'll come back and continue this move on. This is, Richard and I from Streamgo. For those of you who. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, I make a motion to temporarily close public comment number 1. All in favor? Aye. Okay, let me just explain what's going on here. January 15th of 2025 rather, we got a letter from Steve Nolan, Mayor Steve Nolan from Kingston, suspending our leachate quotes. They will not take our leachate quote from the landfill. And we have done, last year, we did 400,000 gallons. And now we come to complete stop here. The amount of leachates that we have, amount of quotes we've done last year is about 120. And we have done about 15 in January. It comes to complete stop. January, February, March is the heaviest months for leachate quotes. The town landfill right now is saturated. And what happened about 2 years ago, there was suspension of leachate quotes for 15 months. For whatever reason, I don't know. But there was a leachate suspension there, which caused over $500,000 of damage at the landfill that we had to go back and replace going through it. This is very important that we get this done. Mark Hester also and Bruce Miner contacted me about bringing in a pilot program where they just came from Buffalo, where they will go to the landfill. They can clean out leachate. They can remove the PFAS, the forever chemicals there. And by doing so, we are now PFAS free. In this way, Kingston will now accept our PFAS, our leachate coming through. But before that happened, the DEC gave approval for Kingston to accept our leachate as is untreated. I'm a scientist. I believe in the fact that I don't want to put into the Hudson River things that are dangerous. Kingston wastewater cannot treat PFAS. I feel that we putting it in there, it's our fault in a sense. So this is a program that has been brought to me. It came out of Buffalo, and what it is, it cleans the leachate. Best part of it, it costs nothing to the town. The pilot program equals zero for the town. And, it costs them, doesn't cost us. And the thing is, what happened was basically on their end, they're showcasing this for other municipalities. The DEC is going to come down and look at this. Mayor Steve Nolan from Kingston is coming out to look at this. Bill McKenna, who now has issues with PFAS in his drinking water, is going to come down and look at this. And you're inviting everybody else.
It's far reaching. You know, this problem is worldwide, and so a lot of people want to come and see what it is that we're offering out there. We have a pretty unique solution.
Right there. Click on that.
You have some pictures in this?
Yeah, it has pictures.
Yep. Ah, perfect.
Tell me if you need me to scroll or.
Keep scrolling down.
Sure.
And we'll see. So we can start with a little discussion quick of that. So first, thanks for having us here. I know we're not the topic of discussion tonight, and but it's a great opportunity. We have the large crowd here, and we really want to take this chance to just introduce ourselves. You're going to see possibly some Streamgo trucks rolling around, and obviously the equipment up at the leachate plant. I will caution right now. So the chemical that we're focusing on here, it's a body of compounds called PFAS, is the common term everyone's seeing. They're generally called forever chemicals, and that's because it's a very strongly bonded compound that does not come apart naturally in nature. There's nothing in nature that will force it to come apart. So you'll hear forever chemicals all the time. And we coined the phrase forever gone. What's the whole thing?
Forever ends today.
Forever ends today. And that's on the side of this container. We didn't think that fully true. It's a great statement because we are ending it today. But when you try and bring that across the US border from Canada, it drew quite a bit of attention. We had a lot of people hopping out there, a lot of x-ray machines going on. So if you see that message, that billboard going down the thing, know it's a good thing, all right? So when we talk about PFAS, we're talking, I don't know how many people have come across this. But basically, it's a group of compounds that have a unique characteristic that they are very bonded, and for that reason, they work very well for non-staining items like Scotchgard. We use it for Teflon, so things don't catch or stick on them. So these are widely used all, and unfortunately, when we're done with the products, we send it to the landfill. And in the landfill, all the materials that it's attached to break down over time. And what happens is they get re-released to the environment through the leachate side of things. So this is where you're not unique at all. I mean, generally 100% of landfills tested today are over limits with PFAS. So everyone has to deal with this in the world. So the great thing is we've come up with technology. We use a technology called nanofractionation, where what we are doing is just collecting the PFAS, removing it from the water, and concentrating it. So we spend very little energy destroying it at the end because we have a much smaller amount. So generally we take 1 million gallons and turn it into 1 teacup of this stuff. And then that's what we put all the energy into to removing. And we actually break it right apart. When we break all the compounds apart into their normal elements, they will reform naturally in what we see in the environment. So the fluorine is a big compound in it. It produces fluoride. The carbon separates off and combined with the oxygen and the hydrogens coming off the water, we then have carbon dioxide and a wisp of hydrogen. And generally 99.9999% is water that we produce. So that's the great thing. There's no discharge from our plant. Literally once we have separated it all, it goes back to the front as treated water. So that's what's happening up at your landfill, which is pretty exciting. The system was scheduled to go from Canada down to Virginia. We got a call from Mark saying, hey, there's a small town that has a little bit of a problem. And we said, well, we'll gladly stop by there for 3 or 4 weeks and get your levels down so you're comfortable, and then move on to Virginia is where it's going for waste management. And unfortunately, I have to kind of leave town really quick here because I'm headed to Virginia to explain to them why it's going to be 3 weeks late. So I have an uncomfortable meeting tomorrow. But anyways, I want to take a chance to introduce us. So if you get a chance, we're up there all the time, and you're welcome to come in and see the technology firsthand.
So Richard, I'm glad you did. My name is Mark Kester with Kester Associates. I'm main office in Syracuse, have an office in Kittle, and I want to extend a note of appreciation for Mike. What happens is that we have these chemicals, and the reason that we're treating them, they're PFAS. Per and polyfluoral alkyl substances. DuPont, 3M made these. All our non-stickware, the stain-resistant carpet, clothing, and all of the food containers that you go to McDonald's, etc., have this in there. The reason it matters is because it's clearly been linked to health issues, from cancer, liver disease, kidney disease, autoimmune, and so. What Mike has done is not turned a blind eye. Kingston said, hey, we'll take your leachate. They just told you that, right? Yes. But you've not turned a blind eye. And this is the right answer. This is an epidemic. The term PFAS, you will hear more and more of. Today is the beginning for most of you. I will say next year, you'll hear it a lot. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, it's like AI in the environmental world. It's that big. And my name of my company is
his company. I never heard the name.
And his name is Streamgo.
My name is not
Streamgo. My name is, and my company is Kester Associates. So what I do is I work with them in the New York, New Jersey area, and then I find areas like what you have here with Mike. There's a need. And Streamgo has a way to fulfill that need. And so Mike didn't turn a blind eye. He was able to negotiate really hard and to get these guys up here for no cost. And it's really going to put you, Mike, you and the town on the map in the Northeast for taking PFAS out of the leachate. It's huge. It's a really big deal. And I'm glad and you're all part of it. Like legit. And we're not here to talk about the railroad. I hear all the answers. I mean, not the answers, but everybody's, their thoughts about it. And it's a tough decision. It's a tough situation for sure. So we're not going to talk about the railroad, but we are talking about PFAS, per polyfluoroalkyl substances that do affect our health. So Mike, thank you for that. And then I guess we'll open it up to questions for Richard, if anybody has any.
I just want to add one thing also, with PFAS itself. Now, when I was back in school, in college and so forth, doing science there, we measured things in parts per 1,000 PPTs and parts per million. You measure PFAS in parts per trillion, and which is telling you something. In parts per trillion. Now, the New York State DEC allows 3 parts per trillion. That means if you have a trillion balls, 3 of them is PFAS. 3 of those can affect your health. That's how minute that is so far. And, you know, they first started out having like 100 parts per trillion. They say they lowered it down to 70, then to 10. Now it's 3. I guarantee you in a couple of years it'll be 0. And it must come out. I personally feel horrified that we are taking out our leachate and dumping into the Hudson River, especially a quarter mile from where the state was, especially where there's a quarter mile where town of the gets its drinking water. You know, that's no. So this is something that I feel firmly, that town of Hurley should feel firmly. We take a stand and we do this. And by the way, one of the biggest contributors to PFAS in landfills is styrofoam. All right, and styrofoam cups is the second leading garbage outside of plastic in the landfill. There's nothing that town of Hurley has done to illegally dump anything in there. This is all legal. This is all legal. That's why the DEC has not come down on us on PFAS, more or less. They know that we're in trouble in this kind of fashion. We are the first ones that are doing this program here in this county, more or less. We're not going to be the last.
What happens after the pilot?
Well, that'll be up to you guys to decide. We're gonna just show the results and get you guys some time. That's what we're doing.
Here's the results. The results is that we have applied for an Environmental Facilities Corporation grant for $1.325 million to study our landfill. Our landfill has been declared a Superfund site back in 2023. All right, and so that study is going to come in here and how to clean up our leachate. This is one way. This is one way it's being showcased. My feeling is, and I know that you tell me I shouldn't say this thing, but I'm going to say it. I feel we're getting a grant. All the indication is that the EFC is sending us information as if we have the grant. They're asking us, who's our engineers? Do they do prevailing wage? Do they have compensation on furniture? I mean, the whole field, which they wouldn't ask us if we weren't getting the grant. And my feeling also is that once we get that $1.325 million grant to study a solution, the state will come down with the money to clean up. I cannot see them giving us $1.3 million and then saying, okay, good, we're done. And they will come in, they will clean up, they will come in there. And the answer is it's going to be on-site treatment, StreamGo, as well as other companies now, are able to take everything out of the leachate. To the point is that what's left over is pure drinking water. What does that mean? We can do on-site treatment, get rid of all the contaminants in the water, and then instead of doing leachate flows from now on, just let it go into the stream. You know, so this is a win-win situation for everybody. And it makes sense all the way through. So I am definitely for this thing, and I will push this further into the county, more or less, coming through.
You are going to be doing it inevitably. So why not be out front one of the first where they're going to have money in their pockets, right? Where they're going to help you. Plus, they want to learn. They also want to see the results of this. I mean, that's why DEC is going to be coming to the site. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of, probably some politicians too. Sorry. But, we'll have some Congress people that want to come through. And so that's the attention you're talking about here. We're talking about a system that removes all the PFAS and deconstructs it to nothing, which is very rare out there. So, so that's going to bring a lot of people in. So be upfront. That is a good message.
Thank you for coming. Yes,
Oh,
thank
thank
you
you.
very much.
All right, I make a motion to resume public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Cheryl Adams. Not sure if it's not thorough. She wants to speak first, Steeder. This is public comment.
This is public comment.
The Cedars are here.
Cedars here.
Oh,
that's Cedar. Okay.
Cheryl,
Do you want to talk
you
about?
want to talk about? What's her name? We have this on.
I told him, yes, it's just happened, but 85 Clark Street, West Cedar Street. So you want to talk to public hearing?
No, they told me to sign
Got it.
this when I came in.
Attendance sheet. Anybody else on the attendance sheet that doesn't have a screen?
All right, Ron, Frank? Ron? Just go say.
On Frank?
Yep. You're up.
I am. Yes, I can.
My name is Ron Frank.
Talk right to the mic, please.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Ron Frank. I own the building at 1310 Route 28 in Westerly, which is across from the entrance to the Ashokan Rail Trail. And I'm also somewhat, I'm not handicapped. I don't like that term, but I am challenged in mobility. It is much easier for me to cycle than it is to walk. And as a cyclist, it is a means of transportation for me. There's a way for me to get around in this world and be as mobile and active as I can be. And when I look at what the use is on this rail trail and how many thousands of people take advantage of this, and we are so fortunate to have this rail trail and to have access from Kingston all the way to the Ashokan Rail Trail, in my opinion, would be the highest and best use of this corridor. And we really need to be concerned about people's safety. There are many people who rely on bicycles as their means of transportation, not just for recreation. And we all know Route 28 is a dangerous road. And I just encourage you to do what, in my view, is allows the railroad to exist where it is, but opens this corridor for everyone coming from Kingston to enjoy this incredible rail trail that we have and to be part of the New York State trail system. So, thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Kircher. Can I get your address, please?
Yes, 22 Corriedale Lane, Cottick Hill. I live down on the rail trail the other direction, so this doesn't directly affect me. But I am a local physician. I own an office on Hurley Avenue here. We are facing an epidemic in this country, and it's kind of interesting. And we just had these folks talking about PFAS. That's one of the many things that is affecting us, and one of the many challenges we are facing. We have an epidemic of obesity and diabetes and heart disease, and I'm not talking about in old people. You know, childhood diabetes is at an all-time high. The way to combat this and to raise people's health and their mental health is to get them outside. When you guys paved this bit along 209, I thought, oh my God, that's nuts. Who's going to go along that trail? It's right along the road. That's awful.
Every morning. I drive by, there's hundreds of people out there walking. And then I started commuting to my office on Hurley Avenue on the rail trail. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And there's a lot of folks in this area who don't have access to drive somewhere to recreate. They don't have money to go to exotic places to ride or do whatever they do. So to be able to hop on your bike and to ride all the way up to the reservoir in a safe way, in a way that supports the community, in a way that doesn't pump out more pollution into the environment like giant diesel engines do. It's just, to me, someone said, this should be a common sense thing. Why the hell would you run another motor so you can sit on your ass and be fat when you can get out and walk and be in nature and lead a healthy lifestyle? And to me, supporting that community is vital. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did James Harden ones? No, they left. Richard Nye? Yes. You just. Springfield? Richard Nye, that's.
That was street.
James- He's not talking either. James Munson?
Good evening. Well, I'm a cyclist and I use my bicycle as a mobility device. I'm also a trail steward, and I've done many miles on the trail. And I've seen the incredible community that has been created on the trail from people from all the different hamlets, and also people traveling through. And it's just, everybody's got a smile on their face. It's a really wonderful thing. And I think that the connectivity to Kingston is very important. And for me to have access to that really makes a tremendous difference. Riding on 28 is just, there's no way. It's just too dangerous. As far as the compromise, I think the compromise is really a fair thing. And the railroad being against it, I just don't understand. I mean, it's incredible that they'd be against something like that, because the real common sense, simple solution to this problem is to have a trail to Kingston. And the compromise, gives something to the railroad, and the railroad is against it. So that really says something about where the railroad's coming from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick? Gerardo? Curia.
Mercurio, I live in Cottage Hill too, same as Ken Kircher. Start the clock.
Start the clock, all right.
Okay, we're gonna make a quick comparison of rail and trail in this section. Okay, so who owns it? Well, the taxpayers do, so that's even. Who operates on it? So the railroad, a for-profit private business operating with a 5-year revocable county permit on taxpayer property. A trail would be Ulster County owned and maintained. Environmental impact, rail, noise, air pollution, and closed spaces. Environmental impact of trail, 0. Environmental benefit of rail, 0. Environmental benefit of trail, preservation and stewardship of county land within your town. Public benefit, If you can call this a benefit, it's a paid amusement ride. Rail is a paid amusement ride on taxpayer property. Costs a minimum of $10 to ride and the maximum, I believe, of $60 odd. Public benefit of trail, public open space, free to all, year round, recreation, exercise, and contemplation. Public health benefit of rail, well, sadly none. Public health benefit of trail. Healthcare cost avoidance valued at $3.29 per user mile per Stone Consulting, a railroad engineering company. The Ashokan Rail Trail was estimated based on its attendance from trail counters at about $1.7 million last year. More trail in Hurley, more access, more health benefit to you town residents. Public safety benefit of rail, well, unfortunately, I don't see one. What I do see, as mentioned by previous speakers, was the danger and delay at crossings. Public safety benefit of trails, well, the trail is being considered as an alternate route for transportation on Route 28. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next name was Mark Hester.
You bet.
Not loud, just bothering the other thing. Rich Alden.
Are you on the second page or the first page?
Fairly fine.
Hi, Rich Alden of the town of Hurley. I'm
What street,
absolutely
Rich?
right on Hillside Avenue. I'm absolutely stunned that everyone is against the rail. We have 750 miles of Empire Trail. We have Minnewaska with 25,000 acres. We have the walkway over the Hudson. We have a trail that goes all the way down to Walk Hill. We have so many places to walk and bike. It is staggering. You can go from Kingston down to Kingston Point. You can go on the Empire Trail. The last thing we need is more people on the trail with a bottle of water having no economic benefit to this area. The rail is having thousands of people, families. You go down to Plaza places, mob. You go to Quick Check, they're busy. You go to the pizza place, they're busy. It was supposed to be a rail. When they moved it and they built the reservoir, the rail was supposed to stay. It was a dirty deal when they moved it and they took it out. It was supposed to be there. We should be supporting a business. Not only that, if this was Dunkin' Donuts, as we all know, we've all claimed that it was too busy an intersection. Their lawyers came in and they said, okay, we're putting it in. Now you're arguing against a small business that wants to do something positive for the community. We have enough walking paths, biking paths, and the number of people, I live in Hurley. I turn onto 209 all the time. My sister walks it. The numbers you're reporting are so inflated, it's staggering. You're delusional if you think that many people are walking on it. There are plenty of places to walk. We should be supporting the station and the rail. Thank you.
Holly Green.
Raleigh Green, I live at 490 Mountain View Avenue. First off, thank you to the board members for your public service. Thanks to everyone for coming out and participating in public engagement. Words have meaning. The word used for this proposed plan is called a compromise. That was a term that was gifted by the chair of the U&D Corridor Advisory Committee. It's not a compromise to the railroad. They're given 500 feet. And it ends, if anyone knows where Hickory Barbecue is, on 28, you're coming up that crest and you're coming around. How many have you seen tractor trailers stopping up all the traffic, trying to turn in there? Or their compromise will propose having it end down the hill of the Hickory Barbecue. Think about all the traffic you're trying to run down that hill. There's a stoplight at Zenith and 28 now. That's safe. It's far better than the Ashokan Rail Trail entrance, which is on a bend and is as dangerous as anything. So those are some considerations. And why would we want more trails when there are over 100 miles of rail trails in the county already, plus the 1,000 miles of other kinds of trails? And lastly, we need economic development of some kind in this area. We can't keep begging the federal and the state governments for grants on an endless supply of money to support these kinds of public boondoggles, such as more trails, whereas the railroad generates actual tax revenue for the towns and also encourages other kinds of economic development. Thank you.
Jack Young? Jack?
He may have left, I don't see him.
How about Larry Nacarado?
That's me, I don't wanna talk, I just figured I'd have to sign.
But you don't want to talk.
No, I don't, but I'm Italian. So. It's actually my first time at one of these functions. I live on Hurley Avenue, and a good friend of mine, Mr. Hilliard, is on the railroad. He's been an engineer there. I walk on 209 on the rail trail with my wife. And everyone's talking about all these places, which is true. You go to Minnewaska, you have all kinds of parks. And my biggest concern is just walking 209 on the trail. And out toward 209, I see a nice clear road. By the backs of houses, I see everything overgrown. I mean, shouldn't it be that somebody's taking care of that, cleaning that up? Should it be someplace where you just walk through and say, I could dump stuff here, do anything I feel like doing? Or should it be someone should be held accountable? The man said, all right, so you're throwing coffee cups, you're throwing this, you're throwing that. Is that something that you want? Almost like maybe, is that the way you keep your household or your yards? Why not clean it up? The rail, it's probably a lot of fun. People say that, all right, they sit on the rear end, they get fat, whatever they're gonna do. But still, get back out, there are people coming back in, back out. You stop at a place, you get off, you walk around, you can still see things. It's still fresh air. Like I said, I didn't even really intend to talk, but I live here 20 years. This is my first meeting, but you can bet it could be more, especially with issues. The rail, they have people that work there. Families, they come different places. That's part of a community. Instead of everybody being closed in and saying, like the world, I don't care about that. Get involved, do something. You can make your community better. You can make the world better. Just one little village at a time. Even a small issue like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Don Matheson?
Yeah, I just signed it.
Welcome.
You don't want me speaking.
Helen Chase.
I'm Helen Chase and I live in Ashokan. When I've spoken before, I've spoken a little bit more about the history of the railroad. And I'm the historian of the town of Olive. And I watched the Ashokan train station be hiked up, put on a trailer, and watch it go off to Woodstock, where it became Victor Basil's hair salon. And then later it became what's called, now known as the station. My dad took us down when the last milk train came through. My dad took the 5 of us down through 28 to that same Ashokan railroad station and watched the last milk train go through. So the railroad is part of my growing up. That we have one railroad. As other people have said, we have hundreds of miles of trail, but we just have one railroad. And it's possible, and we'll hear later, as soon as the presentation comes, we'll hear that it is possible to have the rail and the trail side by side. The rail has wanted to make connections. And I'm also co-chair of the Scenic Byway, the Casco Mountain Scenic Byway. That's along Route 28 from Hurley all the way out to Roxbury and Andes. We started off with 54 miles. We now have 67. The connections are there to make connections with different modes of transportation, the rail, the trails, the hiking trails through the woods, into the mountains. The railroad, if there was an extension of the trail, and there will be, because it's possible to have them side by side. But if the trail is the only thing that takes up that corridor, it's going to be an expense to the county to take up the rails, to prepare the rails, the trail surface, and to maintain it. With the railroad group, the Casco Mountain Railroad, they have access to funding that is different from the regular funding that any other entity might get. It's specific to railroads. They would be responsible for maintaining the rails. They have also offered to use some of the product that in order to have the rail and the trail together, some of the natural product can be reused. And it will be reused by the railroad to help to maintain the trail.
20 seconds left.
Okay, 1 second more. Okay. I'm definitely a proponent for the rail with trail. It can be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Hofstadter?
Hi, I'm Mark Hofstadter from Saugerties.
Can I get your street name, please?
5 Bluestone Park Road, Saugerties.
Park Road?
Bluestone Park.
Thank you.
I didn't realize this meeting was going on today. I just found out 20 minutes ago. I grew up in Harlem. My first job was at the store down here. I grew up fishing in the reservoir. The people in Harlem know me. A lot of people in this room. Unfortunately, I can't walk very well. I have a lot of trouble. The trails don't do me a lot of good. I've been up to the trail, because I love the reservoir. When they shut down, they shut down the railroad, which used to be able to get to the reservoir. And they shut that down. It was a big loss for me. I really was looking forward to the day I could take a ride up to the reservoir, especially if they had like a dining option or something like that, make it really nice. But even what's there now gives me the opportunity to go across the flats where I grew up in Harlem and see some of my history, some of everything that I grew up with. I really would like to I'd like to see it improve. I'd like to see it get all the way up to the reservoir. I understand the trail people's wanting to get in there as well. To me, trail with rail is a good option if it can be done. But I really would like to see the trail get as far as they can up towards the reservoir, and putting in a station like this will be good for both trail people and rail people, as well as just people visiting the town. I think the town had a history of pushing businesses away. It's unfortunate. I would really like to see the town embrace this business and help the town actually. Thank you.
Thank you. No more names. There's no more names on the list.
Who hasn't spoken? No, that's okay. It's okay.
Second public hearing at the end of the meeting.
Okay, so I make a motion to close public comment number 1. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So we have done that. I'd like to right now, again, I got you here. All right, I need to talk about something that I find very important, very a dangerous situation that can happen in Hurley, more or less. Would you bring up the basement, plaza where I sent you? Yeah.
You're looking for this, right?
No. No. That's the railroad.
That's the railroad.
Space and Plaza.
That's
Staying close. It's the first thing I sent you.
Anyways, go ahead and talk. I'll see if I can
All
find
right,
it.
you guys are all, this is something that really I find to be a dangerous situation. You are aware that there's a gas station convenience store wanting to get a foothold on Basin Road on 28, Route 28. You're aware of that, diagonally across from Stewart's right now. Okay, they want in front of the planning board. That's Woodstock, by the way. How Woodstock got there, I have no idea, because everywhere around it is early. All right, but anyway, they want to put a gas station convenience store on that plot there that you see right now. It has a real nice graffiti signs and everything on that portion there. And I went to the Woodstock Planning Board just to hear. I wasn't there to make a statement, but I went there, and when I heard what was being done there, I was kind of flabbergasted. That's kind of shocked. What they want to do basically, I guess I don't have it here.
It'll take a minute, but I can get it up.
What they want to do is they want to have a gas station, where the entrance to the gas station, instead of being on 28, heading towards Kingston, it's going to be on Basin Road.
It's right here, Mike. It's right here. I got it. Yeah,
That's it.
There it is. Sorry about that. Okay.
All right.
Sorry, it's turned, but whatever.
Yeah. What it is basically is, this is 28. This is the triangle here. This is the gas station convenience that they want to do here. So the first thing that the planners wanted to do is have an entrance here and an exit there on 28. Woodstock said no. And the reason why they said no, because cars that want to go here that are going west on 28 have to make a U-turn in a sense and go in that way. So that was no good. The second suggestion is that cars will now come down Basin Road here and enter this way. Go here. Here is a stop sign here. So you can have trucks, you can have cars coming into that area besides the railroad. Also coming into that area. And meanwhile, you're going to have such a backlog. And the worst part about it is that when you come off the rail trail and you want to make a left-hand turn to go to 28 West, you can't. You have to go to Basin Road, come this way and do one of these things. Come that way. Here's the thing. With traffic now coming this way, this being a stop sign, I can see cars backed up this way, backed up here. And it doesn't show here, but this is a curve right over here. I can see cars slamming into those cars back here. This is my opinion, as a resident, I find this very dangerous. And I think the fact that people here, when the Woodstock Planning Board is convening, this is an open session, when they convene back in May, you should all be there and voice your opinion on it.
You know, I go through that intersection all the time. That's over near where my child lives. And that used to be yields. It used to be a yield sign, and they made it a stop sign, which has seemed to me incredibly stupid for exactly the reason that you said, because it allows things to back up. I don't know why they changed it.
Yeah, but you know what the worst part about it here also, here's the entrance here. Here's the trestle. Like how in the world can like an 18-wheeler that's delivering groceries or delivering gas to this gas station, how are they gonna do that? I mean, doesn't take someone with physics knows that you can't do it. It can't be done. And that this is being proposed. My feeling from the Woodstock Planning Board is they don't like this idea either. I think the fact they need to be nudged, maybe a little more, that this idea is not a good idea. Maybe having a gas station, maybe having something here other than a gas station convenience store, something else there. I don't know.
Isn't this what Mel was coming for?
Yes, this is what Mel Sedanic was pushing for this thing.
Right.
He was pushing it because of traffic jam. I'm pushing it because of safety. All right, I see, I mean, I just can't believe that all these cars are going to back up here onto 28. And, you know, you have these crazy people from New York City coming to the rail trail slamming in to these cars. And this is a dangerous situation. And
Where's the train station in relation to that gas station?
in other words, right here, right over here,
Behind the gas station?
behind us, yeah.
There's a picture of it over here on this board against the wall. Then wants to see what the railroad station is.
Would reality be in relation to that? Yes.
You want to? Yeah, let me get a pointer.
Wonder if we ever run to the Dunkin' Donuts wrong.
Yeah, but
Right over here, right up here. This is the trestle right here. Right here. All right, so, and where the station's gonna be is over here somewhere, on this side there. That doesn't matter. What I'm saying basically, I can't see tractor trailers making that quick turn here. They can't. You know, I mean, they can't do it. It's simple as that. And yet that's what's being proposed. And that is something that everybody who lives in the town of Hurley, or lives in the town of Woodstock, this is something that we have to say no to.
When's the next meeting, Mike? Hey, what?
You have, Lynn, you had the date.
I looked it up, I think it's May 15th. I think their normal meeting was supposed to be rescheduled.
I think it's the, I'm not sure. But I think everybody should be there because, I mean, no, the license say it could be your own.
okay.
What is it? May 15th. May 15th?
Thursday before, but it's thinking they may fall on Thursday. Pretty stuff, so.
All right.
I agree with you. Stop sign. That area. This past winter, I've seen so many accidents there because of ice, with people trying to stop and ended up doing 3 car collisions.
Yeah.
And being on 28 as well as that side.
Yeah. And by the way, so I'm gonna ask the safety committee, Etsy Blair and Debbie here to address this issue at the next meeting more or less, because this is something that this has to be safe, and it's not safe as it is right now.
I never speak at public meetings.
Maybe you will. Okay, next thing is, the approved minutes. Have you guys read the minutes? They're all caught up? Okay.
I couldn't get one printed out, so this is our lover. I couldn't have anything else. I set up the print card. March 25th, I have March 25th here. Yeah. Number 30. This is in it. 5-39. Can you give me a page number? No. I don't have it. Hang on. It's the 2025-49. Oh, that's before. That's from February. Yeah, February. All right. Was it right? The first swear on I always are. Is this the unsafe one? I'm trying to figure out my features. 25 over 39.
You have to.
2020, February 25.
Bring up the, November 25th, sure.
Let's do that.
Government.
Yeah.
It's out of the ones you sent in the email. Okay, I missed it. That was right. Okay, good.
What do you need?
I don't know. What's the 21, 25, 39?
39? Okay.
It's 38, next one.
Again, I took this out of the email, so I know you're ready to go.
Trevor, this is the unsafe building.
It's right here.
Yeah, so the first one, New York, you're missing the K.
New
And
York.
then the second to last, whereas. Thank you.
Can't spell that.
I know. Your is a word. Second to last I have.
It's right here.
Whereas.
No, the second.
Oh, that one there. Okay, so it's this one. Held on.
Yeah, on, instead of, oh, there's OM, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, it was held on.
I have one more thing there. After resolution 2025-040. So I, the next page, how many paragraphs?
Where, that last one?
Yeah.
It was the second to last whereas.
Second last,
It says own the matter instead of on the matter.
and we're on, yeah, go ahead. And own to non.
No, I know.
Okay, good.
Okay, so, 2025-040.
Sure.
So I recused,
Right there, yeah.
Yep, but she's looking for the
but
end.
then where, it doesn't say I came back. Well, you recused for that.
Oh.
Yes, so I should tell you that.
Right, this one says for,
Okay, so I should mention that you came back? We haven't asked another meeting, it's up to you guys. I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, you're voting on everything else.
yeah, she came back before this.
And that's it for them.
Anybody else have any comments? Questions?
Wait a minute.
Which,
Something, one of them talking about, there's an attachment, and I didn't see an attachment. It's for that one that I recused myself.
that's gonna be up here.
Yeah, I can't put attachments. But if we buy Adobe Pro, I can attachments. Well, just expected it would be attached.
Are you saying the resolution says the attachment?
Yeah.
So the resolution with the attachment should be posted somewhere else. If it's not, it doesn't have to be included in the minutes.
As long as it's posted.
Okay.
As an-
If someone could just get it to me, we can post it with it. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, Joe?
Now, which attachment is it? Is it the Curly? I don't know. You just said there was an attachment. I'll let you know. No, it wasn't there.
Was this the one you refused or the next one?
It's the one I recused.
Oh.
Fix those. Have a nice-
I'm looking for it. See it. It's up here.
So it would be the law.
I can find it. I can. So as long as you're saying how to get it posted online, that's
So,
fine.
so the minutes to the resolution and attachment are two great.
Yeah.
But you do have to, if the resolution is referencing official resolution itself has to have the attachments.
Okay, so we just have to make sure, wherever it's posted online, has to, right, he has to follow the, when he posts the resolution, he has to add the document.
Wait, just get it to me and we'll get that up. That's fine.
All right,
Which number is that? Dan?
Was it 039, Debbie?
I think it's, I'll find it. It's, I think it was, no, I think it was 40.
It was 40. Let me just scroll down while we're here. This is 40. Yeah, it's here. Right. So it's from 40.
all right, so what's happening? All right. All right, so do we make a motion to accept all the minutes then with the corrections? All right, I make a motion to accept all the minutes with the corrections as stated.
A second.
So we have a second, all in favor? Any opposed? So the minutes are all accepted. Supervisor's report, this is the financials, and it's all, yes, that whole packet.
Just a little tiny print.
You got a lot of that stuff.
See?
I didn't get it.
Well, anyway, all of these, this is the first quarter. Financials as well as the monthly financials. And it has basically on it, all the bills that were paid, what each balance of each account is gonna be. So it's all here and Jeremy's gonna post it online.
You want to post it? I can do that.
Yes.
Fine.
That's it, and then, that's the balance sheet.
All right, we have here, okay, we had a profit and loss, and this goes from January first to April 22nd. We have here a balance sheet as of April 22nd. We have here. All right, we have all the vouchers from the beginning of the year, but separated by abstracts. This is a big one here. Again, profit and loss, that's yours. Well, profit and loss. 1 second.
So you want everything posted?
Yes.
The abstracts?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept this supervisor's report. Do I have a second? All right, all in favor? There is one thing I want to bring in also. You all have a copy of the NYPIRG letter?
Yes.
All right, NYPIRG letter. All right. Real public interest.
Research group.
Research group. All right. What they want to do is they do this every year. They ask our commission, the town commission, to allow them to go door to door to solicit whatever they want to do. And all that. The thing is, though, last year we allowed that to happen, and we got complaints from people saying they don't want to be any kind of computer on, more or less. I'm bringing up a report whether this, whether we accept them, allow them to do this. They're requesting that on May 1st.
Sometime between, they didn't say exactly.
Between May 1st and September 1st.
Right, May 1st, they will come and solicit, not necessarily for money. They are basically a lobby group made up of people, concerned citizens, more or less. I happen to belong to them also. I believe in them. They do a lot of good things for environmental reasons, environmental causes, more or less. And I support them as a resident. As a town supervisor, I need your opinion, whether we go along with this.
And we've always done this in the past? Oh, yeah, that's always coming up.
They come, but the thing is, many people have, don't like to come to their houses. And so they're asking our permission, whether to allow them to go solicit door to door in town of Borough.
Okay, most people ask permission, so if we don't give them permission, other people are gonna go anyway.
Well, they were asking for that permission.
Right, that's what I mean, like, if you exclude them, you're not gonna exclude everybody else. So,
I know.
I think if every individual person, or if just like, say, no one will go away.
So therefore, they're asking now for our permission, for that, to allow them to go.
I would say
I don't think
that they're not really asking,
They're not
they're
asking
just
permission.
notifying, making you aware that they will be conducting these activities through there. It's not gonna be something that we get to announce to the public to make them aware that.
Yeah, we should. I have a letter and we should probably let people know.
No, I think I can, very like, they're not pushy.
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, not at all. They came to my house. They came to my house and I sat down talking.
Mike, we can just put up a brief announcement and then post the letter and people can read that.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, the next thing is the building department report.
I also have a quarterly report that's.
Yes, oh.
Yeah. It's in the. Oh, so here.
It's in here, it's in the package. All right, this is the one report from the building department.
It's up on the screen.
On the screen there. Go. Slide down a little bit.
Yep.
All right. $25,000 was taken in this past month at the building department. Go through that whole thing. And then the next one, assessors report.
Yeah. Yeah. Right there.
There's the assessors report. haven't been started, hasn't been started.
Okay, but it's supposed to be on here. Yeah, as far as that.
Oh, that's what it
Oh, here it is. It's here.
is. 0. All right, so there's the assessors report. Okay, somehow we forgot the clerk's report.
We submitted the monthly report at the last.
Oh,
meeting.
I'm sorry, I left you out.
We submitted the monthly report at the last meeting, but I just distributed a quarterly report from the town clerk's office. It's a paper.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
Okay.
This is it.
So if you can get me that, we can put it on your page.
It's coming down.
I have the paper. I have it.
Okay.
So. Water, which includes the building department and the transfer station was over 135,000. And a big chunk of that has come from the transfer station, followed by the building department from it. The other thing that we thought you might like to know, in tax collections, we have recorded 3,286 bills. That leaves us 499 outstanding, and about 800,000 in taxes still outstanding. The notices of unpaid, the reminder notices will go out the end of this month, beginning of next month.
But anyway,
Haven't paid your tax right now.
but also those who haven't paid their taxes to the town on June 15th, you now must pay it directly to the county. All right, so you no longer, after June 15th, we stop
Is that
collecting
more than
taxes.
June first?
I think it's June 15th. Yeah. Just make one thing clear, County Road, we got our taxes. We make sure we collected our taxes.
Right.
All right,
All right.
I make a motion to accept the town clerk's report. Do I have a second? Second by Joe. All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. Okay, now we're gonna go presentations, and the first one is gonna be, the Catskill Mountain Railroad.
Interrupt 1 second, Mr. Super.
Oh, you-
I hand in my report every month,
I hit the warrant?
and it never gets reported at the meetings.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what's going on. It's never on the agenda. It's never recorded. I give it to the clerk. It's supposed to be handed out to all. That's my Bible of what I spend every month.
Yeah, we got the first 3, we got the first 3 months. We
I
got-
handed mine in.
I know that, I know you did. I just don't know
I just
why.
want to make sure on the record that.
His expenses are part of what you just. As far as I know.
Do you have the warrant for the,
I do not, I have the warrant on my desk. My warrant, it goes straight to the town clerk, but his expenses are in the report that you have from me. Right.
all right, well, Mike, what we'll do is, we have the warrant here, we'll post it online also.
As long as I can get it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's my report every month of everything that we spend.
I hear
And
it.
and all 12 of those make up my report for last year.
So everybody else should be separate, even
Well, we
though.
do. We think it does, it just wasn't.
Right, but I'm saying, he's saying he wants to be separate like everybody else's. I understand it's part of this.
I'm personally responsible for my budget. You guys set my budget. I can be held by a controller, but I'm personally responsible for my budget, so I make sure that I maintain that budget for the last number of years. I've had to go by my warrant and follow my own budget numbers to make sure that I'm within my budget. So those reports are important to be entered.
So what we'll do, Mike, the next.
Post is separate.
All right. Okay, Ernie?
All right, Ernie. Yeah, we got it up here somewhere.
Is there a time limit?
Yes, you get 15 minutes. Hold on a second, I got.
You tell me where to scroll and what you need.
Thank you. Okay, ready, go.
My name is Ernie Hunt, president of the Catskill Mountain Railroad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. And you can hear me back there.
Hold it closer.
Just bring it over.
Hold the mic closer.
This is pretty close.
There you go.
That's good.
Okay, all right. But anyway, thank you very much for allowing us the time to speak about our plans with the Catskill Mountain Railroad and the extension that we are working through with USD Corridor Committee. And the focus of this presentation is going to be mostly on the facility at Basin Road that we want to build at the end of the extended railroad track. And this is a rendering that we've done. We've done a few to give you.
Sorry about that.
Give you a feel for how the railroad would look. You can see the train station on the right, the train, and of course the bicycle trail on the left. And if you scroll through, there's a few different views. This is a view from a different angle. But it gives you a little sense of what it's going to look like up there. We felt it was good to do something like this so you could visualize it better. And this is, of course, where the infamous gas station is supposed to be. So, we have nothing to do with that. But again, it's this is a corner that's basically pretty destitute right now. As you know, it has the abandoned gas station, it has some things across the street, and we believe this is going to be a real addition to the site. And I think it will be a very handsome station. It replaces the station that was actually torn down in 1967. I have a picture of it a little bit later on. Let's continue to go. I'll just walk you through the executive summary that we have. And again, I'm trying to keep the verbal part of this as short as possible so you can ask me questions. But anyway, we're planning to build this in conjunction with a local landowner who actually is a Hurley resident. And it's going to be the first train station built in over 100 years in Ulster County. That is just east of Basin Road and Route 28. To replace the one that was torn down in 1967, I mentioned a second ago. And it'll be a western terminus for the Catskill Mountains Kingston operation. We bring about 50,000 tourists per year to Ulster County, and they would be brought to this location. And they have an option. Of course, we have the option of going to the Ashoka Rail Trail. But we thought it was important to add a second option for our customers to come up there. And we have been studying the trolley service that's been done in the town of Hunter, New York, between Tannersville and Palinville. I've spoken to the owners and to the manager of that operation. And we think that'd be a very good complement in terms of what to do with the passengers when they get there. If they take the Ashoka Rail Trail, which is great, they could either bike, you can rent a bike, do that. But the local trolley bus service actually allows the customers that we have to actually go to early businesses and spend money, which I think is what I think would be interesting for you all. A few other things is that, as we mentioned earlier, there's a safer signaled entrance to the Ashoka Rail Trail than the current one in West Hurley, as mentioned earlier. And we believe it will be a hub of economic activity that will greatly benefit the towns of Hurley, Woodstock, and Kingston, and will operate year-round. The station will be paid for by Catskill Mountain Railroad, and NYSDOT, and the local property owner who's going to be contributing to the station as well. And again, the combination of the train and the trolley, we believe will reduce congestion, not only along Route 28, but actually in the village of Woodstock. And I'll get more to that in a bit. Next page, please. This is a layout I think you all are very familiar with. As you can tell, the station is right at the corner of 3 towns and 4 legislative districts. So it's right in an interesting area. It's again, the trail starts at Basin Road, and we would be ending the tracks just east of Basin Road. Next page, please. So I'll just give you a little bit of history about Catskill Mountain Railroad. We were formed in 1982, which was before I was involved in the railroad. It's employee-owned railroad, and a lot has been made about the fact that we are a private company. We are a private company, but we are employee-owned. We're unique in that sense because we put all of our operating profits back into the railroad and invest in infrastructure. We've really become an infrastructure investment company that, again, it's not easy to run a railroad. The Delaware and Ulster has a huge subsidy. We're able to do it without a subsidy, basically from our ticket revenues. We carried 60,000 riders in 2024. And the key is that 85% of the riders were from outside Ulster County, over 50,000. We also have 4 full-time staff, 35 part-time, and 90 seasonal staff, mostly Kingston High School students. That's for our special events. Our payroll was over 570,000 in 2024, and our revenues were over 2 million. We used to be an all-volunteer organization, and in 2017, we switched to becoming a paid organization, and almost all of our staff are paid to one extent or another. Next page. The train station itself will provide a direct connection between the Ashokan Rail Trail and Kingston, and again, will bring thousands of visitors to this location. We will run a regular shuttle service, which we're going to call the Ashokan Express, by rail up to the station on a 2-hour turnaround at the height of the summer. We'll also provide a connecting trolley bus service from the station to local West Hurley businesses and the village of Woodstock. The westbound site access, as we were talking about earlier, is from Xena Basin Road. Eastbound would be directly into the site, but the westbound site access would be through the stoplight, but it would not be heavy trucks, it would just be cars, and we don't think it would be a huge amount of traffic. The rail shuttle service, which we call the Ashokan Express, would lead 2-hour intervals at the height of the summer, and it will attract tours, but also Ulster County residents. And we'll have a dedicated car reserved for passengers who wish to bring their bikes up to save them the steep uphill climb from Kingston to West Hurley. We plan to put a boarding platform at Washington Avenue, as well as at the end of the line. Both the tourist residents can be trained at the West Hurley Woodstock train station, travel on the Ashokan Rail Trail. If they don't bring their bikes, they can rent one at the station. Next slide. So the trolley service is the newer addition that we felt was necessary to add to the service, and it would be patterned on the successful Catskill trolley that runs from Palinville to Tannersville in the town of Hunter. Again, it will allow both tourists and residents the opportunity to explore local businesses. And just so you know, the ride up there goes from Palinville, it goes up the hill, and with the goal of trying to get people and cars off of 23A, and it's been very successful doing that. It's $5 one way, it's $10 another way. We would do something that would either be integrated into the train ticket, or it would be something that's relatively inexpensive for locals to use. And we've also had quite a bit of experience with this, with our chairman, Harry Jameson, ran the Town Thinker Tube Rail. And so it's not a piece of cake to run a shuttle service, but we do know how to do it. And again, I do know the service that we will own the service in Hunter. And this is just a sample of the trolley. These are made in Maine. They're called the Molly Trolley company. You can look it up online. And they're really quite handsome. And they do have the option for handicap access if needed. But we think they're a very nice complement to the railroad train as we see it today. Now, this is focused on West Hurley. We felt that these stops were the appropriate places to stop in West Hurley: Reservoir Inn, the Maverick Concert Hall, the Santa Fe Mexican Restaurant, Hotel Dillon, and the future West Hurley Commercial District. And again, the idea is that the 50,000 passengers that we bring up the hill, some will take the trail, but we want some of them to actually get off and use local businesses. Now remember, they don't have their cars. They're going to be coming up from Kingston. Their cars are going to be left in Kingston. So they're going to be on the bus, and they will not be taking their cars up here, which I think ultimately will lessen traffic congestion in this area. The trolley service will continue on to Woodstock. We have a little route map here, and stop at similar establishments. And we believe it would reduce traffic and parking congestion in the village of Woodstock, just as it does between Palinville and Tannersville. The trolley can actually be equipped with a bike rack, similar to this. You actually load bikes there, and we can use it. You can have that service for people who want to take their bikes from Woodstock to the Ashokan Rail Trail. It's very dangerous on 375 as a local road, and this would allow people to safely bring their bikes down to the Shokin Rail Trail from Woodstock. And again, it would be time to meet the trains and a regular 2-hour schedule. And again, it allows our tourists to actually start spending money in West Hurley and Woodstock, not just take the trail and go home. And they also can be used for special events in Hurley and Woodstock, not just for the shuttle service. The train station, which is a follow-up, it's been very nicely done over here, has certain amenities I think will be very useful for both the for the railroad and the trail. We can get a lot of visitor information, Ulster County tourist information, public bathrooms, which is very important, so that this could be listed on the attraction signs on the thruway, which is one of the requirements. Event space, covered area, and electric source. This is infrastructure that the trail does not have at this point. Commercial retail space, food and drink, bike repair, rental, other convenience uses, ticket office for us, and the connecting trolley service to West Hurley and Woodstock. And again, it would be paid for by us and not by the county. Again, the inclusion of indoor bathrooms will allow it to be added to the New York State Thruway sign. Parking facilities would contain bike racks and charging stations. And again, it would jumpstart that intersection. And we were awarded a grant from New York State DOT to develop the site, which was conditioned on the Ulster and Delaware Committee approving the extension. And it will also serve potentially as a North Pole and as a Hogwarts school for the upcoming Hogwarts Express that we do plan to do in the next couple of years. Just a few pictures of the old stations. This is interesting. This is the Woodstock station. That was built as a temporary station after this station was torn down, which is the original West Hurley station. And then the one on the right was the one that was built in about 1915 that says West Hurley, but supposedly underneath it, it said Woodstock. And it was built it was torn down in 1967. Sustainability, I think that, again, the trolley service would reduce traffic congestion, also the railroad service itself. And I do want to mention that we have converted our locomotives to 100% biodiesel, which has been extremely successful. Most modern engines can't take 100% biodiesel, but our ancient engines actually can. And it has reduced pollution significantly. And we did get a grant for $2.3 million to convert one of our locomotives into a modern clean diesel locomotive. That was about a year ago. I didn't want to go too much into railway trail. There's an extensive amount of research on our website if you want to follow more. We do have a difference of opinion with the trail folks. They would say that railway trail is infeasible. We disagree. We do think that the best for both the town of Hurley and for the county is to have both. And again, the question really is whether the economic benefits of the Basin Road Station and its annual benefits going forever outweigh the cost of the one-time cost of building the railroad trail. And that's really the issue that's in front of the UND committee. We do believe that it is the best policy. And the proposals that we have made about railroad trail have been endorsed by legislator Litz, a professional civil engineer who recently left the UND committee. We also believe that there is funding that could be done through rail funding to do railroad trail from Basin Road to Stony Hollow. We do advocate that the current resolution be modified to endorse railroad trail and our station, and it should not be passed as is. And a couple other points to make is that even though it's quite correct that 28 is dangerous for bicycles, that's from Stony Hollow to Kingston. From Stony Hollow to Basin Road, Basin Road and 28A are not ideal, but they are a lot less dangerous than 28.
30 seconds.
Yeah. And the final thing is that we are fully funded. We're ready to go. Funding for a trail project is uncertain at this time. Thank you. Well, our recommendation is that you endorse railway trail and create the maximum benefit for the town of Hurley. Thank you.
Jeremy, go back to the very first slide. Sure.
I want to understand that.
Keep going.
Yep. All the way back up to the top. Okay.
No, go one on the map.
Yeah.
Sure. No, I know what you want.
What's that
That
running off
that
of? Oh, no, I want to go up.
Oh, go ahead.
Where'd you want to?
Is that right there? Is that going in and out of 28?
Yeah, this would be, it's not, well, you would not be able to turn from 28 into here. It should have signs that would say that. The guy that did this kind of did it this way, but
Where would that be?
that would be basically,
This is the gas station side right here.
yeah, the gas station's over there. It'd be a little bit down.
So it's the field.
Yeah, it's a little bit down, but it's,
No, it's up.
but it's flat.
Up further up.
Yeah.
No, you have to, isn't it the
No,
same
no.
scenario you would go
No,
up and
it's-
around
no.
to get in the back?
No,
No,
no, no.
it's-
This is up the hill.
Yeah, it's flat, it is flat with the road at that point. And then it starts going up a little
How
bit.
do you get in if you're coming this way?
Go along at the stoplight, turn left, and then.
So it's the same, but that's the
Same
same scenario as
scenario.
going in the gas
Yeah, it's the
station.
same issue.
You've got all of this. Yeah.
If you go back, another slide, you can see
But
this
it's
is
the
the,
same-
this
it's
is the
the same
connector here. Now, they would be coming in, from here, but again, in private cars.
So this is further east.
Yeah, the property is, their property is very small. Some people only have less than half an acre. It's a really tiny site.
So there's a road coming from Basin, there's an entrance from Basin Road into the park.
So if you would put that,
Right there, right?
yeah. And
That's Basin Road.
This is Basin Road, right?
yes, that's right.
Right,
That's
and
right.
there's an entrance right into the parking lot to
Yeah.
Basin Road,
Right there.
and there's a light at that corner.
Lights on here now.
We think that's a safer.
Like the rail trail up in Boyceville or Champaign. I'm talking about what you showed for the Woodstock.
Well, you have to understand something. See
The
those,
planning board.
see the trees over there?
Yeah.
They're not there. That's what the garage would
That's what
be.
the gas.
That's the gas
I
station.
understand, but it's still the same scenario that you're going in Basin Road and you're making, so you're
not
still
nearly
backing up traffic.
But it's not nearly
Same
as much of
scenario.
a turn desk.
Well, you're not gonna back up.
It's not gonna be a sharp turn. It's coming in like that. In other words, they're gonna come this way and go straight down, straight across it. There's not gonna be any backup coming this way.
And that's turn, trust that straight across.
Can you go back to
the map?
To the map, sure. All right, here. Yeah, pink is the rail,
The rail, that's the railroad,
that's the railroad. Where's the trail?
the green.
The green. All right, so in other words, you can have a railroad, a rail and a trail parallel to each other. How far back does that trail go? All the way back, the walking trail or the pedestrian trail goes all the way back to Hannaford?
That's the proposal that we suggest to the county.
You're gonna have, in other words, you're gonna have a parallel trail from Hannaford to Basin Road.
Well, the policy from Stony Hollow to Hannaford is rail trail. That's been adopted by the county. Now, this part, it hasn't been adopted. And that's the issue, is whether you do railroad trail here or not. And obviously, we advocate railroad trail because we think this is actually an easier area to do it than when you go back down. But again, there's a lot of debate about this issue. I don't want to get into all of that. here.
No, but my curiosity is this, that if this gets approved, as you're doing it, you're talking about a trail that follows the railroad all the way.
Yeah, that's been our policy since I became president in 2013. Been railroad trail.
You have, is a portion in, I guess in Hurley, the rock, you cut through the rock,
Mhm.
and that's 14 feet,
It's 28 feet.
that's 28 feet.
I measured it myself. So
But you need 34 feet for the trail in there, don't you?
you did do some excavation, but not as much as what has been estimated elsewhere. We've measured every 30 feet. And it's all our website, all this stuff.
Why, okay, have you presented this also to town of Ulster, town of Kingston, and town of Woodstock?
Well, this current presentation, I wanted to present to the other three towns and the UND committee on Thursday. If Legislator Collins allows it, I'll be making the same presentation to the committee.
Tell me another thing, what's the economic advantage to Hurley? Since we only have 2,000 feet.
Yeah.
Of the we have 0.33 miles of the 1.7.
I think the real advantage is that we're going to deliver passengers to a point where our tour buses can take them to local businesses. I think that's the key. You have an undeveloped commercial district in West Shirley. I think this bus and the potential for these people could really help you develop that commercial area better.
Okay.
Because again, the issue is if they just take the train and they go up there and they go back, it doesn't help. But if they get off and they spend money in, the Reservoir Inn, at the various restaurants, and potentially the new place at the West Hurley, commercial district, that's a benefit to the town of Hurley.
There's been some talk about the
grants that you didn't get, is there anything, a plan that you, but if you don't get the grant, you can't do this, or this is all outside of the grant?
We were issued 3 grants. 2 of them are not to do with this area. And both of them, one's about a clean engine, others an engine house. Those are, been signed. We're proceeding on both of those. And this one, the county asked the state to defer a decision on countersigning the grant until the committee made a decision.
But even if you, so if they made a decision, you can have it, you get the grant. If they don't make a decision, you can have it, you can't have it anyway?
Well, if we can't go up there, it doesn't matter.
Right, yeah, okay.
Anyone want to ask?
What is the proposal as far as timeline for this?
Well, we have the funds available today to start work. We believe it'll take 1 year to renovate the tracks to get up to that point, and probably another year to develop the site to where we can start using it for the shuttle bus service. We'll have to buy the buses, but again, we invest our surplus cash into infrastructure. We bought $100,000 worth of equipment last year that we're using to renovate the tracks at a faster pace. We have $250,000 saved for the extension, and we will be able to make additional investments in conjunction with the property owner for the site.
Question. On the section, the undesignated section where there's the wetlands, the state. What's the solution to try to widen that there without impacting the wetlands?
So the proposal we have suggested is to have a parallel walkway. It's about 60 feet above the wetlands there. And the parallel walkway would be just to the side of the hill, but not down at the bottom. Now you can build a boardwalk in the wetlands. The Shogun Rail Trail has it, but we don't think that's necessary. The railroad goes by wetlands in other parts of the right of way. In Kingston, we have a section we go by wetlands as well, which are much closer. But in this particular case, we have a couple different scenarios that do not involve the addition of any kind of effect to the wetlands. And legislator Litz has reviewed and did endorse our ideas for that.
And you'd have to go through the secret process and get approved?
If we have to disturb wetlands, certainly. And even the work that we would do above the wetlands, we would be going through to build the trail. Yeah, it would be some sort of process. To maintain the railroad, it's not required.
There's a section on Boyceville Rail Trail where, you cross the bridge and you go a little further, and then there's water on both sides, right through the wetlands there. I was there when they built that wetlands and how they, kept the wetlands safe in a sense by doing what they did more or less.
There's ways of dealing with it. When Open Space Institute gave a presentation in September and they addressed the subject, they said there are ways to do it. It's feasible. It's a question of cost versus, whether it's worth the cost. Yeah, but again, well, in the sense is that if you have the economic output you get from this train station, let's say that's, 5 million of benefit a year, let's say that the railroad trail costs $5 million. But when you do a cost benefit analysis, which is what the state makes us do when we do our grant applications, that's $5 million a year for 10 years. That's 50 million versus the 5 million that you have to pay. Then that means your cost benefit ratio is 10 to 1. So it's basically, that usually means that it's worth investing in. If it turns out that the benefit was, $50,000 per year versus a $5 million cost, well, then it isn't worth it.
Oh, I thought you meant for the making sure when you go over the wetlands, whatever is needed cost-wise to protect the wetlands. That's what I'm
No, it could be done. The exact cost hasn't been determined by the committee. It's really hard to do without it really doing an engineering study. But again, we believe even at the highest estimates that were made for the railway trail, which came up to about $5 million, the economic benefits of the station and its annual economic output make that a positive cost benefit ratio.
But I'm talking about the cost to put in a walkway over the wetlands to protect wetlands. So what happens if that cost is extremely high? You're still going to fund that?
Well, again, we've offered to fund some of this, but we have to work out with the county, how much we would fund and how much they would fund. Depends what an engineer determined was the best way to do it. But we have been offered to fund some of this, especially the excavation that to the rock cut, which is, we think is relatively straightforward.
Any questions from, the audience? Kelly?
You spoke of, multiple back and forth trips.
Mhm.
How many are you thinking about
I think
in a
it's,
day?
yeah, I think it's in the height of the season, which would be July and August. You probably have service every couple of hours. You probably do weekends and other parts of the season. It kind of depends on demand, but our demand tends to follow, Memorial Day weekend, a little less in June. July and August is sort of peak. Then it's less busy in September, and then leaf season, it's pretty busy.
Right. Well, what I'm currently observing is, the issue at Washington Avenue, 209, 10 times a day. And stopping traffic, when there's 20 to 30 cars every minute on 209. We've got EMS that has to come in and out, and police that they can't wait several minutes. And if that's happening 10 times a day, that would be a big issue for us in Hurley. Also, Hurley Mountain Road. As I said, that turn is very dangerous. It is in need of repair. I was out there today. And the next question is, you're talking about a station, but you still have no infrastructure for all of your equipment, which is currently, it's like an industrial yard. Whereas you had space on Cornell Street, Cornell got moved out of that location in 2016. Now it appears that your equipment is situated from the plaza. Every intersection, you have disabled equipment, you have rusted equipment, and you have working equipment, plus your train cars with no infrastructure to store it. And some of it really needs to be moved. Like 209, you had railroad ties, piles of railroad ties, and some rusted stuff. Also, Hurley Mountain Road, it's been there for months, and it's not going anywhere. So what is your long-term plan?
What we need to have is a maintenance facility for the railroad and storage facility. The railroad has very little infrastructure. And we lost Cornell Street Yard. We lost our yard in Phoenicia.
Right.
It's a straight track with one switch.
Right.
That's it.
But the county can't, and it should not be responsible to have your stuff. You're a for-profit organization. And I know you make between 1 and 2 million just on your Polar Express in a 5-week time frame. So you must have some funds that you could construct or find real estate. So the county is giving you a permit, which you're using annually, but you don't own any real estate, really. And even the proposed location is actually a lease. You're not going to own that property. So you see, that's my question is, what is your plan long-term?
Well, there are two places that we lease. One is this one at Basin Road. The other is in Kingston. We have a lease for a property that we would like to make our long-term facility for maintenance.
But is it zoned for maintenance?
We're going through that process in the city right now.
No, and that's going to be a tough battle because of previous history in 2016. And what are you doing to prevent derailment?
So our track is actually inspected twice a year by Illinois SDOT, and we have one of the best inspection records of any tourist railroad in the state. We have our neighbor to the west had some problems with that, and that's why they haven't operated for 5 years. But we operate.
Your neighbor, I'm sorry, is that
Delaware
open?
Mills.
They're open now.
They're open notice day, but they've had some tough times with that. But we've done a huge amount of investment. We put $100,000 in new equipment to speed up our tire replacement process, and our track is in excellent condition.
Well, you need to clean up the intersections though, because 209, Hurley Mountain Road, there's stuff.
But when we get our engine house built, which we have funded by New York State, that's where all that will go.
Anybody else? That's it.
I thank you for your imaginative vision and your presentation. You have played down the issue of attaining the necessary width for rail width trail, which I understand to be 34 feet is the AASHTO standard. And, I've been on that section. I've, seen measurements made by people in this room, where the width of it is, 13 feet wide of one.
It's not true. I've told it myself, it's not 13 feet. It's not true. I don't want to, let's not debate.
I've measured it.
I've measured it too. It's just not true. So I don't want to, I don't think we
I'd
can
like
talk
to finish my
offline.
question now. My question is, how are you going to, excuse me?
How do you call the Ulster County Bridge 13 feet? They have a walkway. You provide bikes across the bridge that's unsafe, and yet you sit here now and complain.
Betsy, go ahead, Betsy.
Don't talk like a trail.
Hold on. Hey, Betsy, go ahead.
So I think that you have a wonderful vision, but I think you're peddling an unreal vision. I'm thinking it's,
I'm
let
sorry.
me finish my question, please.
I disagree.
How are you planning to attain any kind of reasonable width without impacting very high quality, very large, unusual wetlands?
It's on our website.
I've looked at your website.
Well, it's on our website. It's backed up by a professional engineer, Stone Consulting, which did the analysis 10 years ago.
They speak to a tragic flaw, I believe was their
So
language.
it's Stony Hollow. And since then, they've come to several different ways of dealing with that.
So you're talking about a situation, it sounds like, of rail
Yeah.
separated from trail. Is that the case?
It was always separated. Question is how much you separate them.
That's disingenuous. The 34-foot width is what would be needed for rail separated from trail in a true rail with trail fashion.
Trails do not built railroads. They can be built to different standards, but they can be built in such a way that it can be done next to the trail.
Excuse me, I just have to correct something here. We have a public comment period, number 2 later on in the presentation or later on in the meeting. I think this is just a presentation without any comments from all of us. I'd like to stop this right now, and questions you have, Kevin can have also at the end. You can do public comment number 2, which is at the end of the meeting. You can then voice your opinion in that sense. I just like to get going through it, and I want to thank you, Ernie, for the presentation. What I would like to see from you, Ernie, and as well as from you, Jeff Collins, on the plans, your plans, what you want to see, and then also your plans. I want to see again, go from there. Before I make a judgment on this kind of thing, I get to see the plans.
We'll follow up with whatever you need.
All right, okay, all right, thank you. The next thing is the NRI with Greg Jerome. You're up.
All right, long time waiting here.
Sorry. That's why that was good stuff.
Yes. So I'm Greg Petrol. I'm the project manager for the Natural Resources Inventory for the town of Hurley. This is an exciting project where we are, through an all-volunteer team, bringing together more or less state-of-the-art information, data sets, and mapping for our town, so that when we are dealing with difficult and multitude of sides to look at issues such as the railroad, we have good information to operate from. So it just allows the town to make the best decisions possible. Next slide.
I can make it go there. Hold on. Let's just do it this way.
You make that larger, if I can?
Yes. Good.
Okay. So this slide is really just a quick review. We've already gone over the details of what a natural resources inventory is, but I just wanted to reintroduce it for anybody who needed to catch up a little bit. Next slide. So I believe later on you're going to be approving expenses vouchers. And one of those is going to be for a bill from Hudsonia Limited. By way of background, this is the original proposed budget for the Natural Resources Inventory that is being funded
in part by a $36,800 grant from New York State DEC and through volunteer time. So that is how we're going to be paying for our natural resources inventory. Net, that is $0 cost to the town. So the first thing I wanted to do is present to the board our project actual, where we are today, since this is our first major quarterly report for the project. Yep, that's the one. So where we are is on schedule and on budget. So the big expense that came through for this quarter is $7,179. That's the amount of money that Hudsonia Limited accrued in terms of time spent on the Habitat and Wildlife section. The other aspect of this is showing the volunteer time that has been accrued. And you can see down towards the bottom where 2H and 2I, which is basically all of the volunteers, this is the dollar value that we've been accruing while we've been working on it. So there's a lot of great work being done by the people of the town, and as the project manager, I just want to convey how much I appreciate the amount of time and effort that people have been putting into this. So, thank you.
And you too, Greg.
So this is a little more detail on the actual volunteer time that's been accrued, where you can actually see the amount of total hours that we've done thus far. So you can see 428 hours have been put on this project. We are probably going to double that by the time we're done. Now, already we're getting to use the information. So the safety committee, for instance, has already been reaching out to us for the information, the data sets, the maps that we've been producing, and we are happily sharing. I expect the planning board is going to be doing the same thing, especially with things like the new wetlands regulations, as well as our own building department, where we're going to be producing really fine-tuned zoning maps. So we're going to do it by region within the town, so we have a high degree of detail and the latest information, the latest zoning maps from the county. So this is what we're up to. This is where we are in the overall project schedule. As you can see, we've already accomplished a lot of things. The big task that we have in front of us right now is the full draft of the natural resources inventory. Just by way of background, it is a set of maps. So currently we're producing 62 maps, and in total we should be close to 120. So to give you an idea of how many different ways we're looking at the town and its resources, this is going to be a great resource for the town and the community residents and the board. So this is just sort of where we are in our current drafting. Really, this is the detail that I recently shared with the team, and it really shows that we are on track. So on schedule, on budget. And just so everybody knows, we're going to be done with the draft NOI and doing a rollout of that on the website for everyone to see and comment on towards the end of July. And the final NOI through the full approval process and presentations and so forth with the county, our own boards and so forth, that'll all happen probably by the beginning of November. Next slide. Okay, so actually, we're gonna skip that,
Okay.
and that's it. So, any questions?
No, thank you, all the volunteers. Fantastic.
Yeah, I just had, one little, comment I wanted to add on the reason why I've been, so adamant or pushing hard to get, our expenses through, has to do with the way in which the town gets reimbursed. So the grant we have is a as-you-go reimbursement. The way the timing goes, and I figured this out early on, is that if we can catch the period of time between, let's say, now and the end of the month, so we have Hudsonia's invoice, if we can get checks cut and the reports put in with that expense, it means our time for reimbursement is approximately 45 days. If we miss that window, it's more like 135 days.
Okay.
So that's why we've organized the contract with Hudsonia and our own work and so forth to have this cadence where we can get very quick turnaround on reimbursement.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to say something with Greg and his committee, more or less. They're all volunteers. I mean, that is what,
You did?
you know,
That's really does.
Yeah.
Really does.
yeah. This is, you know, I mean, we're the only paid officials here, basically, in a sense. But we can't run the town. So everybody's got to do it. You all need it. And Greg, thank you so much. Not only is Greg on this committee, he's also on the CRC, the Comprehensive Review Committee.
We just wanted to acknowledge, Mayor,
Yeah.
that, Greg in particular is a treasure because he has,
Very, huh?
But I pitched a couple of hard technical questions and, less than 2 hours, he'll be back. With the understanding of, fairly complex remote sensing data and the like, so.
He is a gem.
Yes, yes, you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's open up now the public hearing on 84 Cedar Street. Do I have I make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have everybody in favor?
Yes, I.
Aye, all right, good.
Second.
All right, 84 Cedar Street. Do we have any comments at all?
There'll be, simply set down, on the public hearing list. There are a couple people in the room or in the area, they said they want to speak.
Okay. So therefore, no one's a public hearing.
Well, you just officially have to do it, so.
Yeah, but he is, the code enforcement officer here.
He was here.
He was at elections, yeah.
I wonder if he's in his office.
Yeah, the door's closed.
Yeah, I gave some background information on the 84 Cedar Street. It's the person who lived there passed away. The heir to it cannot afford to do anything with it. That place is a total disaster. Going through there are many gas cans laying all about the place. Whether they're filled or not, we don't know. Going through there, and I saw it coming through on the third year of foreclosure, which means that this year it will be foreclosed by the county. Meanwhile, it's something that we have to take care of. I would like to send all economists, our CEO there, to determine what needs to be done to alleviate the condition. And what we do basically is it costs the town money, but then we add it on to whatever the tax auction is, whatever, whoever buys the place later on, they have to reimburse the town for all the expenses that are done to remediate the situation.
Have you guys reviewed the code enforcement officer's report, the pictures of the building with large missing sections of the roof, other portions of the structure having collapsed?
Yeah, this is right there. Do you have it?
Is it in here?
I don't believe it's in the materials. It was sent by the code enforcement officer previously to you.
Yeah.
And
But I do want to say something, the property on Stango, I'm sorry, on, 0209, the Stango property. Also, we had a public hearing on it, and the owners right now are cleaning it up. We've seen some movement coming up. The son has come in here and he's got a contractor, to take over and do this thing. We have said to him that if, that time is of essence, that you're not gonna forestall this thing. You can do this thing, or we're gonna do it for you and then hand it on to you.
The neighbors are very happy that it's at least, it's much better when it's all been mowed.
Okay. So, public hearing, open it all? Or close it?
There's nothing to reason, there's no one else, it's just to hear from the public.
Okay.
So,
All right, so I make a motion to close the public hearing on 84 Cedar Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So closed.
all right, are you guys prepared to discuss the specifics pertaining to what's wrong with the building and why you would declare it as an unsafe building under our code?
Well, I think we're going to fall actually expected, right? Isn't that what you
Yeah, we already did that. It's been noticed. And that basically pursuant to the statute, you guys are either, you know, upholding his determination. He determined that it's unsafe, but it's up to you to determine that it's unsafe. And I would highly recommend before you guys make a decision that you review everything in detail so that you guys are prepared to, when you make that determination, to discuss specifically on the record why you are determining that this structure is an unsafe building, justifies the town going in there, taking action to either remove it or repair it, and then charging costs against the property.
I've actually looked at the whole thing here, and I actually visited the property also, and it's unsafe. The place is wide open. There's no closing or anything, and the pictures that you can see on the website show that it's a dangerous. And I believe the air to this thing has also admitted the fact that it's a danger to the area. Myself, I would like to declare that being unsafe building, and I agree with Paul Thomas and determination.
Yeah, I think he's looking, I think we need to read the reasons, some of the reasons why.
Yeah, you guys need to go on the record
Right.
before you make a resolution and discuss why you are declaring private property unsafe and saying that the town has the authority
Tonight, we want to break this up and do this next time.
So I would recommend if you guys aren't prepared to
Right, we
discuss
should
it,
do
to
this next
further, now that the public has had an opportunity to speak on it,
Right.
to further review the report so that there can be any discussion and decision issued at the agenda meeting.
Okay, so this whole thing, all this documents is was sent from Paul to Jeremy, and Jeremy, you have it, I believe. Well, you're gonna have it on the website.
If it's not there, it will be tomorrow.
And there is another section of the roof that actually caved in yesterday
Oh, great.
when I was driving by.
So it may be worthwhile to ask Paul to just go and provide an update as to any additional damage and additional pictures.
Yeah, he'll need to get me the report. We'll put that up.
May I ask a question? May I ask a question? I noticed earlier that 88 Cedar Street was a recent sale. Is it next door to 84 Cedar Way?
I had to make it.
Is it next door?
It's next. All right, so let's do this thing. Let's take this, everybody. Let's take this home and do this thing, and then on the next agenda meeting, we discuss this thing, and that leads to a resolution on it. We'll be on the website. If you want, I can send it over to digital. All right, like that a bit. All right, so.
The public hearing's already closed, so you can move on to the next.
All right, okay. The next thing is placement of the kiosks. All right, we got 3 kiosks. They're in, and the highway department, Mike Schultes, whoever he is, they put the kiosks at 3 locations on the 209 rail trail. Coming through there. All right. Plus also,
They gave us recommendation last
yes,
time on where
we
to
did.
go.
Mike,
Mike, yeah.
you have recommendations made to the kiosks
Yes.
with kiosk locations. Yeah, I got the print from Ralph.
Yeah, okay.
So we're just gonna borrow the yogurt and that's some pound of yogurt for them.
Okay.
Charlie and I will get maybe this week even.
Okay,
Thanks.
and also, we have, Rigid.
Yeah, they've started,
Working on it?
yeah, they're, purchasing materials.
Okay, we have right now 3 kiosks there that these were supposed to replace, but instead we have a,
Two, they're- Yeah.
there's 2 that they're gonna fix, so we'll now have 5 kiosks in the area. I think that's wonderful. Through there.
Did we remove one?
No, one of them is in bad shape and, one's in bad shape. We're gonna go take a look at it and see whether it's gonna be usable or just remove it. I guess Mike is gonna go look at that one and go from there. There's also some,
I pray that you get new microphones so that.
We're not even using it. We're not even using it.
Mike, can you hear me? All right, what basically what I'm saying is that, those kiosks are gonna be put in, shortly, I believe, said in a couple of weeks. On the
Yeah,
rail trail.
Charlie and I can get them in this week, we will, but, you know, things have gone sideways since that trailer showed up with the leaf shake deal, so, we've been busy.
Okay.
And we found a sinkhole over on, Broad Street, that we had to do emergency repair on. And some things, so, no shortage of work out there for us.
About time, huh? Thank you, Michael. You guys do a real nice job. I really appreciate it. Okay, the next thing here is the,
Before we go on, can I ask, are we gonna vote on the resolution for Skate and Go?
it's gonna be in here.
But he already.
We didn't get into it though. Oh, you know, we said? We didn't get into it. It's here. Yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah, well, that's why I know. I told you. Okay, we passed the Dug Hill ball fields. We got the okay from, oh, sorry, Grand Marshal. We are still looking for a Grand Marshal and I believe we're looking, we're still looking, still out there. John has about 5 names so far. All right, so if you know about Grand Marshal for the Memorial Day Parade, just
Old
pass-
Hurley, correct?
It's Old Hurley.
We alternate
It's gotta be an
every
old person for Old Hurley.
year. This year was West Hurley.
Right. So, if anybody has any nominee for it, just send it to me, send it to John Terry. Yeah, and, we'll go from there. Okay. Next thing is, pass the Dug Hill ball fields. Again, I gotta thank Mike Schultes for doing this. Putting up water, bringing water to the ball fields, bringing electricity. Bringing water to the ball fields, bringing electricity to the ball fields. This is done by Mike Schultes' group. We got an $80,000 matching grant from the county, and we had to match it with $80,000 also, but 20,000 of it can be work in kind. Work in kind is the highway department is going to be doing a lot of the
You want
work.
me to invoice that time?
Yes, I want you to send it to John Terry.
I'll get that done tomorrow.
Okay, great. And so basically is what's happening at the ball field right now. Again, volunteers. This is the recreation committee, volunteers bringing in heavy equipment. They're gonna smooth out the ball field. They're gonna seed it. They're gonna put baseball dirt in there. We're gonna get dugouts. We're gonna get bleachers. We're going to get also fencing. I'm sorry, the volunteers happen to be the recreation committee that John Perry, our chair. They are bringing heavy equipment. They're bringing, the volunteers are. One of the volunteers is a contractor.
Oh.
And he's actually bringing his material in there to level, to work in the field. We're putting fencing up there.
John said the fencing was done.
What's that?
I thought John said the fencing was done.
I haven't been up there yet, but we're putting also fencing to close the fields because four-wheelers get up there and they destroy the field. So we're going to close that. We are planning on having Little League, Mountain Valley Little League is going to be there. We're planning on having softball there and as well as flag football and fall. So we are making headway at the ball field while it's coming through. So again, volunteers. Okay, crosswalks. All right, we have, the county has come and they agreed to put crosswalks on the 4 corners on Zandhook, Millbrook, Main Street and also Hurley Avenue. So what we're doing basically is that, we're gonna put the crosswalks down, but first, they threw a little obstacle in our way. In order to get the crosswalks, we have to put concrete slab, 5-foot concrete slab with what's called, sensory deprivation pads, which are like doormats that have little nipples on it, or thimbles on it, so people who are visually handicapped, when they're walking across the road, will feel it in their feet. I'm not quite sure how to make it across the road unaided, but at least they know they're on the crosswalk more or less. So that's, all right, we have, we've already gotten two estimates, and they range from $6,000 to $10,000 to put in 3 slabs of concrete with those sensory deprivation pads there. And we are going to get this thing done. We're doing, no, it's gonna, what it's gonna be, it starts on the south side of Main Street, goes to the north side of Main Street, and then from north side of Main Street goes across Hurley Avenue, that's an L, to the George Washington House, and that's it. You know, because otherwise we have to do the whole 4 things. That's about $20,000 out. So we just need to do this kind of L shape here coming through here. And I understand the county has a 25-foot easement from the center of the road across. So we don't need to get easements from the homeowners there, but we will talk with homeowners there. In fact, there's one right here next to me. You know, he's already agreed. All right, so, you know, this is gonna get done. We're gonna be doing that. I had a call in with Amanda Laval, the deputy executive, county executive, and this is about the Zander project. They have broken up. We're gonna do the Zander project in 2 different prongs. The north side by the cemetery is going first, the south side a little later, because that involves more extensive work. As long as we get a path on the north side by the cemetery side, hey, that's great. That would be great to get that going. That's exactly what we need to do, especially when the weather is getting warm. The only problem is that this might not happen this year, but it's gonna happen. All right, and we are insistent on that happening. And the second, and on the south side, more drainage. We're gonna look at Mike Schultes and Dennis Larios, our town engineer. We surveyed the area. We have been talking to the county engineers about, you know, having a good drainage side on that side. We know from also on the south side of Zander are the pipes, the water pipes from Rolling Meadows water system. And Jeff Vogt and Josh Vogt want to move the pipes anyway, the water pipes to the center of the road, because they are now right below at power lines and so forth, that if they had to dig it up, they could be in trouble with the power line for the sub. It's going to be moved, which is great then, because then we can actually put in, you know, the drainage on that side. But again, that's going to be 2 years in the process. This one is going to be within a year, coming through hopefully.
So the one on Main,
Which one?
the one on Main and Hurley Avenue should be done soon.
No, we talk about crosswalks. Yes. Yeah, what we're gonna do right now is, we're gonna put out an RFP. Well, I don't know if we have to in a sense, because if this is under $25,000, the supervisor's entitled to just give the bid out. And I'd rather do that than wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks for an RFP to come back. I want to get this done so the county won't say to us they can't do it until this is done. I want this done.
So that should be done soon.
It should be done very soon, yes. Zander, within a year or so. Okay,
Yeah, whoever's gonna do it, so we'll get on the schedule.
yes. Okay, the next one is, updated social media policy. I don't know.
So we're gonna let people comment, so it's not just, that's just not here.
Right, commenting on what?
Whatever we're posting it.
No, this is different.
This is their social, this is for the employees.
This is employees.
The town may allow public comments, social media posts. I thought we were not gonna do that.
You also have rules for what can be posted. There's a town, they allow comments, but then.
Well, that's something we have to discuss. We can discuss that.
We discussed it late last year and said, no, we were
No
not.
comments.
Not gonna allow the comments.
There was never a decision to that effect.
Information only.
All I'm saying is that we can do that. We can do that. We can say that.
Well, what we have right now is there's the proposed draft that is being provided to you guys tonight. It's nothing, no action's being taken on. So what I would recommend is that review the proposed draft and any changes or any additions additions or things that you want taken out, have prepared. You can send those changes prior to the next meeting, but, it's not on for any kind of vote or anything, it's just so that it can be provided to you guys and the discussion can begin.
Okay. All right, so the next one, the Basin Road project, we already discussed. You got that. Yeah. All right, now the resolutions. Okay, the first resolution here, support the trail use of a 1.76 mile section of the Ulster and Delaware Railroad corridor and connectivity of that trail into Kingston.
A motion we table it.
I would, no, I kind of agree with you, the table, for one reason here. I want to see the plans. I would like to see the plans that the county proposes. I want to see the plans that the railroad proposes. I want to see that whole thing, because it's one thing talking about it, it's one thing seeing the actual plans coming through. And the thing is though, that there's a meeting on the 22nd, county with your committee, Kevin, I'm sorry, Jeff Collins, your committee there. That's going into another committee, more or less. I understand that the decision on the rail and trail is sometime in May, at the earliest. Okay, so we have time then. We have time then. Okay, so we have time to look at this thing, but again, I'd like, Jeff, to send us the plans that you, like, your plans that you want to do with it. I'd like to send, and Ernie, you send us the plans also, so we can look at it more or less and see exactly what it is. See, I have to see it. We have to see it more, so that's what I'd like to, and I'd like to, again, table, I know that Gregory Simpson wanted to be here, but he couldn't, and he would ask us that if we can table this, we'll get it full. And he might not be here.
No, I might not do that.
Oh, let's see how,
No, just have, well, we got a special meeting.
yeah, especially that, we want to do that, all right? All right, that's good. So, what I want to do is I want the entire board
Yes.
here, to make this thing go here. All right?
Okay. So I tabled it, Joe.
I seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye. The next one is a resolution to utilize Streamjo pilot program for collection of the leachate. You know,
I'll second that. I'm so happy that you got this thing done, that you got them involved. Good for you. Yep.
Any further?
No.
No further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Twice aye again.
All right, resolution, Michael, this is a resolution to hire Maximilian Seablow Landsman as a full-time highway heavy motor equipment operator as an HMEO. First of all, before, we vote on this thing, I want to thank Mike Atsit. Mike Atsit, was a town mechanic, very nice gentleman, so forth, did a really nice, super job. He left for greener pastures, more or less, and,
He fell in love when he moved. Lady is gonna get married in October. He didn't want to commute an hour. Oh, that's my.
all right. All right, so, there's a resolution here, to hire Maximilian Seablow Landsman. I believe he's gonna start May 1st. May 1st?
That's a start.
All right, May 1st. I make a motion to accept the,
Budget code?
Michael, what's the budget code for him? It's an employee.
Budget code, Michael.
This might take a while.
Directional microphone, get rid of those single port microphones. What do you mean?
The budget code, the payroll code for him. It's payroll.
Next two resolutions.
It'll be either 5142 or 51. In winter time it's 5142, and in the summer I think it's 5132. I don't know. They split back for 6 months out of year. Repair personal services and snow personal services.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to accept Maximilian Sidlow Landsman for the position. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, the next one, resolution to promote Cody Baldwin for full-time highway auto mechanic. Take over from Mike Atchett.
Oh, then who's this? Who's this guy replacing?
Maximilian,
Yeah, that's Maximilian.
Maximilian is,
Take it over. we had two positions. When Mike Gatz left, the mechanic position came open, so we posted two jobs, mechanic and HMEO, heavy machine equipment operator. And the only one that applied internally for the mechanic was Cody. So we moved him up to that, and then Maximilian was one of three that put in applications for the HMEO, and I picked Maximilian out of the three, so he gets that position. So, Cody will be moved up from interior.
Now he gets a salary increase, Cody.
He'd already been working out of class in that position anyway,
Okay.
and he's ready to do it soon. Actually, it's at 5130.
Make a motion to accept, the resolution to promote Cody Baldwin to full-time highway auto mechanic. Do I have a second? Second by Debbie. All in favor? Any opposed? This is Mike, you're still here. Resolution to accept bid from Trailers Inc. for a 16-foot full tilt trailer and transfer a 12-foot trailer to town maintenance department. What's happened here is that you have a roller.
We have a roller that doesn't fit on the old trailer, so remember we talked about it, that the maintenance man would take the older trailer for his zero-turn mower and push mowers and a trimmer nap for him to go around and go apart, and we'll get this trailer. I did it. I put it out to bid because I thought it was gonna be under 10,000. One of them is under 10,000, but some of them are higher. But I got 3 quotes, and the one came in as the lowest quote there, so.
Right, is this gonna come from, the capital fund 3H?
Didn't put that in there, did I?
No.
Sorry. I think I had it in there, but my phone didn't pick it up.
Okay. All right.
All good, 9301. All the other companies that I looked to, I went to numerous ones, they were all backlogged. It was ridiculous. Months.
I make a motion to accept this resolution. Do I have a second? Debbie seconds it. All in favor? All right, next, resolution to authorize supervisor to sign an agreement with High and Minnesota and Vaginalis PC. These are pilot attorneys. What it's had basically is that last time we discussed like Dallas Point, which is actually a trailer park up on Hurley Mountain Road in the town of Hurley, in the town of Ulster. And so we're hiring a pilot attorney because the group that's working there is asking for a pilot. And this is the same pilot that worked with the town of Ulster to get their pilot agreed. So we had this, we tabled this because we didn't have the contract. The next page has the contract.
All we're doing is getting these attorneys.
We get these attorneys here to work with us on the pilot agreement. Now, the pilot agreement that's put on the table is a 40-year pilot agreement where they will they will pay whatever the taxes are in 2024, and then 2% for the next 40 years added on to that. So that's on the table. That's something that that needs to be discussed and needs to be negotiated.
Now, when the attorneys come up with something, do we as attorneys, when the attorneys come up with their plan, do we get to approve it or not approve it as a town board?
We have to approve it. This is right. This is just the contract. This is the contract to hire them to negotiate for us with the developers, with Pete Weigel and John Joseph. Okay. Well, one of the things I communicate on, well, it's on, if you look at the next page.
Well, yeah,
Basically,
hourly.
What's the? There is no total, it's a time-based thing, so what I would say is when, Supervisor Gomes discusses what, work wants done, he can basically say that, there's a cap on how much time put in. He can request that an associate as opposed to a partner who charges a much higher hourly rate. There's other things that he can make clear in the billing structure.
And not only that, though, we have a template. town of Ulster has already approved their pilot that this, lawyer group has settled. So we can actually start right there. Go from there. So
And where's this come out of? Where's the money for this come out of? For the attorneys.
it's coming out of attorney's fees, all right?
What should be?
Yes. Very right, very right. 1420. Oh, 1420.
I will say that in this in this agreement, they can dictate who's doing the work. You don't get to tell them.
Right.
No, you can request that.
And when we deem it appropriate, one or more attorney, paralegal, or staff employed by MB may be working on this matter from time to time. And we reserve the right to delegate the work contemplated by this agreement in our sole discretion without notice.
Well, if,
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we don't get to dictate what they're doing. Like, you can't tell them paralegal's gonna do it. They're
They
telling you
definitely
we're
don't
gonna
want-
do it the way we wanna do it. You know, with
Yeah, I hear you.
you know, what the town of Wilson paid for theirs.
I can find out. I can find out from, quickly.
Cause I would like to have a cap in here or at least something.
you could put that in the resolution.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
All right, so you want to do that then, Ed?
And also like they to report regularly how often we want them to give us progress and cost. Like not all of a sudden just, you know, 4 months from now, get a bill for $1,000. No, I think it's, they're gonna just say that in there. They're gonna bill it.
On monthly basis.
On a monthly basis.
Yeah. So then we bill it, they're gonna have to pay it. But I would wanna know what town of Wilson was that cap, so that we can have some kind of a cap on it.
Do you want to hold off on this until, we find out?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, otherwise, none of us have any idea.
all right, so, all right. Let-
And it should be less than what they paid for starting theirs. So I just want to know that what kind of a cap we can put
Okay.
on it, that's all.
All right, so we can table, well, there's a motion there? I make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we table this to get more information as to what the town of Wilson contract looks like. And I second that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Everyone have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, nice to see you.
Next one is a resolution to approve annual New York State Magistrate Associates Conference with Justice John Parker.
I'm motion that one. I'll second.
All in favor? Resolution to change the rate of the pay for the part-time intern. This is an intern that, right now is in, New Paltz. She's coming out of, she's gonna be leaving New Paltz in May. She's been working for the town for the past 3 years. This is Molly Teague. And, you know, she's getting paid right now $15.50, which is like,
You got it.
so we'd like to,
Will be.
right, so we're paying her 15,
We're gonna agree to 15.
we can increase it to $15.50. Okay,
I'm motion that one.
all right, and this is in the fund, well, the fund line. Coming out of, 1220 supervisor's line, 1220.4 contractual.
She looks everywhere, right?
She works,
Report the,
put it this way, when she walks in the door with a license of first, yes. Is it 1220?
She said, well.
1220.4.
Okay, was your motion there?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, is the second? Diana second, did you vote on it?
No.
All right, all in favor? Opposed? Okay. Resolution to approve expense for Vasco reclaiming surface. This is, if you look at the next thing, there's a bill there for $5,105. This came in today from Vasco reclaiming. What this is basically, we have two used oil tanks that sit, 275 gallon tanks, two 275 gallon tanks that sit at the transfer station. They've been sitting there for about 20 years. I can't recall what it is, and we actually collected used oil. And in the past, though, we've had it emptied out. I don't think we've had it emptied out since Jim Craven was here back in the early 2000s. It's sitting there. We want to clean it up there. It's a danger to it. There's also 255 gallon drums that contain antifreeze and contain, well, your guess is as good as ours. What's in the other one? Get rid of that also. And the cost is going to be $51.50. This is important.
And this is the work.
This is from the phone line coming out of the transfer station. Right. Okay, I'll give you that in a second. This is coming out of 8090. All right, environmental, 8090.4. This is the environmental. This is this is another, we take it out of, all of the, all the refuse that gets transferred, okay, comes out of this account. So that's where it comes from too. That's 8090.4. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
I'll do this.
Go right ahead.
So the next one's a resolution to approve expenses related to notary public services. So Samara is going to take the training and then the test to become a notary. So $75. And then mileage, yes, and mileage, just take it over.
And it comes out of 1220.4.
I'm a notary, it's a very, very good thing. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
it's good to have another one here. Yeah.
All right, we have a motion. Seconded.
Motion.
Seconded. All in favor?
It's a pretty abstract one. I didn't hear it all. This is for.
All right, this is the shed. The shed that is up there right now in the transfer station has been condemned by the CEO, code enforcement officer. And no. So what we do basically, now again, this fund line comes out of 8090 also.
Okay.
All right, out of 8090, which is the 8090.4. It's, but something that needs to be done. The thing is though, they need to have this shed there. The shed they have there right now is a 12 by 12 shed there. This one's gonna be 14 by 16, I believe it is. 14, no. This is 14 by 16, this one here. All right, and the cost is gonna be, it says here, no. The other one, the second one on the second page is something that we can look at it and review. We're not gonna order it this time. This is what they could do. I just wanted to show it to you. But the first one here, this is actually costing approximately $12,000. This
Well, we have to pay sales tax, right?
excuse me, hold on.
Well, 13,872.60.
Well, they have sales taxes.
Yeah, we should have sales.
Should have sales tax. So it's like 12,845. Okay. This is something that needs to be done to keep, at least have the workers up there, not in the elements.
I motion this one.
Yes. Okay. And I want you to look, hold on. I just want you to look at the second one. This is a
Yes.
ticket booth later on. Okay. You made a motion. I second it. All in favor?
I think that will serve the people of the town well. Doing that.
Oh, yeah.
It's the work just today. I was up there for about an hour waiting. So people well.
So it is, like, one thing,
They need something to get out of the weather.
And that building is around 94, 95, it's served a purpose.
Terrible.
well, all right, we get, okay, what's the way we worked out right now, that Mike, that we can send Al Mayon, the town electrician up there, disconnect all the electricity, send up Dan Hopping to remove all the Wi-Fi and the cameras, take it off, and then have Mike Schultz bring up hiring people to demolish it, get rid of it. Brad Barn is going to deliver it on site, put it right on the site there. We then bring back Al Mayon to hook up the electricity, and we bring up also Dan Hopping to put the Wi-Fi back. Now, the demolishing of it will be done on a Monday because the train station is closed Monday. However, putting the shed in has to be required during the week because we need the workers there to be there also. So probably one day, once we get it there, we'll have the transfer station be closed for a certain period of time to allow the electrician, to allow the MCS to go in there and put the Wi-Fi in, and to allow also the workers to come in there and move everything back over more or less.
They usually set those things pretty fast.
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
Just hoping one day.
or maybe it could just be half a day if it turns out that way. Yeah, so we're gonna schedule everything. In other words, once we get Brad Bond delivering it, we're gonna get the electrician as well as the technician up there to hook up everything at one time, and then we can let them go in there and set up how they want to set it up more or less.
Right, so what if, once we schedule it, then we'll put a notice out there.
So in the meantime, somebody came to our office with a photograph. I think he was trying to access the old one,
Access to what?
the shed that they put a gate around. He was trying to access it so it has to be clear what people do in the meantime. People have to pay for their.
Aren't they going
Is
down
this-
and around?
They're going down and around, they go to the trailer and application. If they have to
This was the
use,
shed that, I guess I don't know what shed it is. But there was someone that came to our window complaining about trying to access some shed that they used to access, and it was,
Yeah, well, the shed that they were going to pay for their background was right across from the garage. Now they have to walk around the trailer.
right, so I think he was still trying to access the old one. So the sooner we demolish it, the better.
well, the thing is that they can't access it because if they're up there, they're being told to go down to the trailer.
Well, he must have slipped.
Yeah, it was actually announced on the website.
Yeah, we told them to go to the other entrance.
Yeah.
So the sooner it can be thrown down, the better. That's all.
Humans don't like change.
This one comes out of the recreation, right?
Like I said, the traffic pattern they have now is the one that's there.
Okay, the next one here is a resolution to authorize supervisor to sign contract with Low Plumbing to install water cooler and filtration system at Duck Hill Park. All right, there, we're gonna get a filtered system there, a fountain there, and the fountain is kind of removable, meaning that in winter time, we could take it off and put it, store it somewhere and go from there. All right, right now, the money's gonna come out of the capital 20H, which is part of the grant that we're getting from the county. And, well, hang on a second. Right now, we have a balance in that, 28 of $61,000, not including the 80,000 that we're gonna get from, the county. Okay? And
28 or 20?
this is 20H. The capital fund 20H. All right, and it's $17,000 is of course. I gotta say something. Lowe's was the only one that, responded to the RFP.
And so it's all four of these costs we're doing.
We're doing, 17,000. It's gonna be,
Oh.
those are options.
17,000.
Yeah, and what we're doing basically is, we're probably gonna go to option one, which is, install the, UV system as opposed to chlorine. We don't want chlorine, up there with children, talking about accessing everything there. So the UV light is the mostly the safest. Okay, all right. I make a motion to pass this resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have a third? No.
The third and fourth, and they're done.
All in favor?
What's the funny?
Three to go.
He's in there.
Yes, the next one is the resolution to approve the Toshiba printer. We put an RFP out, and once again, only one company responded. Toshiba to 7150 is the cost of the printer. It's gonna come out of the communications line, which is like A1650. Central Communications. All right, and what we're planning on doing is that our printer right now is, it works well when you kick it. All right, so basically is that we know that the town garage doesn't have a workable printer. So we're gonna give them ours and,
Kick it. Just show me where to kick it so we know.
see, it's got nice, so my footprint there. All right, so we're gonna do that kind of thing. And again, this comes from the Frontline Learning Group.
1650.
Is there a motion? I make a motion.
I'll second.
You second it. All in favor?
The ordinance says before somebody uses, they have to have a code, right?
Yes.
Because we need to keep track of who's making color
Right.
copies,
Yeah.
because there's no reason for a ton of color copies, so we need to know where that's coming from.
Well, what we're doing right now over here, it's defaulting to black and white. So if you want color, you gotta put the color in there. And you'll know, we have access to who's doing that.
Don't they have a code system? They punch your code in and you want to use it?
Yes, that's for copying, not for printing.
Now, who won the bid? Did Rico win the bid?
No, they never responded. We called them, they responded. Toshiba responded.
Because to keep that one under their service policy, they have to move it.
Whatever.
Whatever the other one comes in, I'll let them show them.
Okay, all right, all in favor? Opposed?
Settings on software.
Okay. This is, Joe, this is for you, resolution to establish a housing advisory committee.
Beginning of February, I believe it was, we spoke with, from the Ulster County, Housing Smart Committee. And we decided that we would join them, amongst many other towns to determine, where the best place would be to put additional housing within the town that would be, feasible for both low income and the rest of us. So he advised that we start a committee, which I brought a report to Mike, and this is the resolution to start that committee, to find volunteers to join the committee, the advisory committee. That we're looking for at least 7 volunteers for people to join that. So that is step 1. Step 2, which he recommended, and he said he would definitely join us with any of our meetings, is to determine the town's resolutions, and this is where Matt, you would help us with the tax breaks and for veterans, as well as actual town breaks for seniors.
Okay, right at the point there is tax rate for veterans and seniors.
We'll discuss it. Yeah, and that's why I need to talk.
British. Okay, I'll second that one.
All in favor? Okay. And the next one we can't do. All right, we don't have enough, the reason why we can't do it, we have 2 members of the library board on here, who have to recuse themselves, and there's only 2 of us now. So we'll have to bring this up, table it for next time.
The table.
Motion to table. Yeah.
And one of them has this.
We can't do it. Okay.
We can't do it. You have to pass it on. Motion to open public comment number 2. Would you do me a favor, those of you who spoke the first time about the railroad laws, we did the same comment. We have. This is actually additional comments that you would like you to speak. That's different than the first comment you made, more or less.
Second.
Okay, the second, all in favor? Okay, who would like to,
You speaking?
Go ahead.
My name is Kim Connolly. I actually live in the town of Ulster. I didn't have any intention of speaking tonight until I heard Mr. Hunt's presentation. And I hate doing this, I made some notes. My husband and I live in the town of Ulster, and I work in the city of Kingston. From my office, I can see the Washington Avenue crossing, which the train already crosses 4 to 5 times a day during its busy season, Public Express. I can honestly say the backup there is minimal. Does traffic have to stop for a train? Absolutely. It gets through there pretty quickly. These guys are efficient. It's not a huge tie-up in that area. With living in the town of Ulster, I think the idea of rail plus trail plus trolley is absolutely fantastic. My husband and I would use that regularly. There's no way, I'd like to get out on the trail. There's no way I'm hiking all the way up to the Ashokan. It's not going to happen. If I can take the train up there, I can go hike by the reservoir. And if there's a trolley, I can assure you, I'm not going to Woodstock or West Hurley to shop right now because I'm not going to park on a weekend. If I can take the train up for a minimal cost, take the trolley right into Woodstock, right into West Hurley, into the new district, have dinner, have cooked drinks, do some shopping, spend the afternoon. My husband and I know many others, would absolutely use that. We've done it in North Conway, New Hampshire. I mean, we took a weekend to go do that. It works in other towns. This is part of our history. I think we need to take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
I would like, your discussion.
I'll go again.
Anything, are you gonna say anything different than you said the first time?
Yeah, I'd like to respond to a couple of points and make an observation and follow up on what she had to talk about.
Okay.
Well, I have some comments.
Well, let him go.
Okay. I heard several times tonight, people were complaining that the railroad makes profit off public asset. And I'd like to remind everyone that the railroad pays the county for that privilege. They also employ people, they do purchases. In other words, the county is actually making a really good investment in letting the railroad operate on the corridor. Conversely, the trail does not employ anyone directly, does not generate any income directly, but it does consume a lot of money for maintenance, and it costs millions of dollars every time they want to extend the trail. And the payback is supposedly, well, there are benefits to the public, but the claims for tourism have not really panned out the way they were promised. Doing the railroad up to Basin Road would simply capitalize on the investment that's already been made and multiplied. The second point I'd like to make is the trolley idea here is a game changer. I don't think it's fully appreciated. We have this debate. We do rail, do we do trail? Do we with rail with trail? And it's all looking at in terms of, well, recreation, tourism. But the railroad would be running both ways. You're talking about people would now be able to go from Woodstock or Ulster, take the trolley bus to the station, and be able to go into Kingston, get to Washington Avenue, get to Delaware Plaza. There's a major bus stop there. So suddenly they have access to more ways to get around. They have more transportation options. They want to bring their bike, they can do that too. The point is, you now have a way for people to get back and forth without needing to find parking spaces, drive a car. The traffic on 28 is not that much fun if you're driving it either. So this is another transportation mode. I've been to Europe and I have seen how they don't treat it as an either or choice. They take all the different modes and find ways to make them work together. It's a multiplier effect. You get the advantages of all and you cut down the disadvantages of each. This is something we really need to consider.
Thank you. Ben?
Yeah. So I agree with a lot that Kim said. And, you know, we go visit places occasionally and we always take advantage of riding the train when we can. And I'd like you know, I understand that having connectivity between Kingston and the Ashokan is also important. And we hope that they could have a parallel path or perhaps do something to improve conditions on 28A so people could walk along there. There might be, you know, some other ways to provide people who want to walk or, you know, another pathway to get to the Ashokan Rail Trail. Having additional parking or ways to access that asset, I think is great for the whole area. And the trolley is a wonderful idea. I mean, who wants to go to Woodstock on the weekends? I don't go there in the summer. I mean, you know, or 375, you know, on a week, you know. Oh yeah, well, I'm not going there because it's just so crowded to get, you know, move around there and find parking. So, you know, I think it might get a lot more use than you imagine. And Complete Street should really and try to embrace as many modes of transportation as possible. So, you know, I think it's really important to try to accommodate rail. My other comment to the railroad is that if you just cross 28A, at least you've saved people from getting run over. And if you have a station there, your destination is in fact the trail. But, you know, as you say, it's a 2%, you know, it's quite a grade going from there up to Basin Road, and not everybody can handle that. So, you know, I think the railroad's a great idea, especially with the trolley and everything that we can do to have parallel path, to combine them, we should try. Thank you.
Michael?
I just had a couple words thinking about this and growing up with the train running through there. You know, the railroad, having those tracks on the ground, they have 100-foot right of way. They have the power to get funding that bike trails don't. And then why can't we work together with the rail trail and the bike, you know, the Castle Mountain Railroad? And widen, I mean, get some funding eventually and widen that notch up behind Beasley Furniture up the Basin Road. And how about, you know, you can't do anything with the swamp, but you could build a platform off of it. I mean, there's so many things you could do if the railroad works with the rail trail people to get the money to do it. I think that would be fabulous because then you have that's the whole world. I would love that. Some days I might feel like taking a train and hopping off and coming to town hall and then getting a trolley back up. Or other days I might want to ride a bike. I mean, to join both of them together seems like a win-win overall instead of the two going back and forth and you know, beating everybody up. I think it would be. I delivered wood over the weekend on Easter Sunday. I delivered wood to an 86-year-old woman just healing. And you know, we're talking about politics and how we're going crazy. And that she goes, I got one word. Problem, and just answer with one word. And she goes, hate. And you know, we just got to start working together. I think that a lot of good because, like I said, the railroad really has access to funding that nobody else does. Those rails on that property give you access to money. Now that bridge, on the other hand, they tore the rails off the bridge, so the bridge is no longer good. So I'd love to see the bridge get raised so we can get trucks in. Actually, it was supposed to be lifted a couple of years ago, and legislator put a kibosh on that. But I would love to see that railroad bridge lifted up and put an archway up so they could get over it, so that actual all the construction equipment that comes in, because literally there's no other way to get in to Sampsonville or any of the other locations except through.
Thank you, Mike.
That end. So my 2 minutes are up.
More than 2 minutes are up. In the back.
In the back, and then
Do I need to go up?
Yes.
Name, rank, serial number.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm from Phoenicia.
Ryan, what's your last name?
Lennox.
Levitt?
Lennox, Lennox. Just a background, I graduated Ontario High School in 2008. And I'm one of the few that still live up here because I just had to move because there's little to no opportunity up in my direction and along 28 and whatnot. I just want to say that this is probably one of the most exciting things living up here my entire life that I've ever seen proposed along 28. You know, I think everybody should be embracing it, like, forget his name, but, I feel like, it shouldn't, everybody should be working together on this, because at the end of the day, are you gonna spend so-and-so on just the trail, or you can spend so-and-so on and whatnot? You should be spending money on the golden ticket, which is railway trail the whole way. They already have in a resolution to have a railway trail from Kingston to, the section of the corridor up for question. You might as well just do that last section as a railway trail and make the whole thing a railway trail, not stop it in the middle of basically nowhere back there. And also just that destination, the point of it being a destination, just imagine going by there in the evening, on your way down to Kingston, and you see this giant station lit up on the hill. It's going to be a destination that you can see every single day you're passing down 28, not hitting down in the forest and whatnot. But I just wanted to say that I think this is one of the most exciting things that probably the county has, especially along Route 28, so much time I got. 30 seconds.
14.
But, I think we should be working together, and, it shouldn't be an either or, it should be both, period, paragraph, end of the day, because that's going to be the best thing for the whole area. And again, everybody my age up there loves the railroad. They love the railroad. They love everything that we're doing. So anyway, that's my.
Thanks. No problem. That's it.
Like Betsy Blair Hurley Ave. I wanted to invite, all of this comes down to feasibility. And there's been a debate here tonight whether it's feasible or not. And I think it's really important that each of you come out and take a little walk on the fill portion of this. And farther if you want. I know not all of you can go, but I'm happy to take pictures and show you. But I would really love to do that. I'd love to do that the week after next and just show you. So is anyone interested?
I'll be in your, sorry.
I am.
I'm interested.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else want?
A quick comment. That's the night trade information. We're going to try to talk to each other. Maybe we can start a dialogue that's positive. So,
Something, this whole thing should be a joint. Both, it has to be.
we can work together. We can do it.
have to. And because what I'm seeing right now, in my opinion, I see this be a very emotional issue, and it shouldn't be an emotional issue. It should be something that's strategic. It should be something that will benefit the county, benefit the town, everybody here. It shouldn't be like where you pick one group against another group. At the last meeting, I made a comment that your group sat on that side, the other group sat on this side. That's not the way the town runs. We're entitled to our different opinions here, and that shouldn't affect anything.
I'm not part of any group. Don't put me in a group.
Yeah.
Don't put me in a group.
All right, I'm sorry.
I'm a county legislator. I will make the decision that I think is best. I'm not part of a group.
No, I'm just saying the fact is though, that when I saw it, this is my comments. What I saw was two diverse groups. That shouldn't be. Everything can be worked out, and it has to be worked out.
That's what I'm going to try to get trade information. Maybe we can make some progress.
We made some progress tonight. We confirmed that he did agree that there are sections that are 13 feet wide. And so I believe that was progress. Thank you.
All right. That's through talking. So this is what we have to do. Yeah, we have to talk this through. There is no easy answer, one way or the other. It's got to be where you got to give. It has to be something that it's not. It can't be something where one side gets it. It's got to be some sort of true compromise.
And we're gonna take everybody into account too. There was somebody here that's gonna be a neighbor, right, that's gonna have that extra long pass that's gonna interrupt his business. We have to take everything into consideration.
Those
other places that are gonna be. I understood, but we have to take everything.
I actually counted up here, like there was 29 people who spoke, 20 different people spoke, and there's like 10 people. So if that's what the situation is on Stephen, then we have to work with that.
Harness both energies. Do anything.
One thing I want to say is back when a long time ago, Mike Hine and I went back and forth. And, you know, when they were ripping the rails up, I told Mike, I said, you know, once those rails come up, New York City's in trouble. You no longer have that corridor. And he fought me in that, but I can tell you, point blank, that if another 9/11 happened, they could shut that trail down tomorrow if they wanted to.
What I would like to do for all of us here, let's go home, let's think about this. No, seriously, let's think about this thing. Let's come up with a workable solution.
I think if you all want to go for a ride up there, I think they took all the legislators one time, I know, on an electric train cart, I think it was, or I don't know, they could start and take you all up through that corridor there, on a little.
All right.
The gentleman here wants to say that.
I would have to say, it's a mile and an eighth, but they did take all the county legislators on that one time, remember?
And they brought it back.
That was the problem. They didn't come back.
They brought them back.
Yeah. I just want to invite everyone to take a moment at the mall, because I know you have to sit there all night looking across the room at it. So before I back it up, I'll let you take for a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Bye, Jack.
All in favor? Good night.